It's the dynamic duo of Al and Jerry, the superheroes of WFAN.
Only about a minute or so left. What else, Al?
Jerry.
To the 10, into the end zone. Touchdown, Chargers. 29 yards. J.K. Dobbins with 18 seconds left.
That was Matt Money Smith on Chargers radio, and that put an end to chargering. Maybe forever, Perloff. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. It was a wild game last night. Sunday Night Football. We'll start there because it felt like no one wanted to win that game, until J.K. Dobbins.
There was some chargering.
There was some chargering.
That was a major chargering.
Right. You're right.
They had Brandon Staley come in and talk to the team at halftime, and they blew an 18-point lead.
Yep.
But yeah,
some chargering.
You're right. That might be the end of it when Justin Herbert is Superman. Although I wonder if he's a little too Superman for me. He seems to take on a lot of contact. The Chargers are for real now. They're in the mix. I mean, in the mix is in they could win a playoff game. Like nobody who's going to want to see that team.
Not me. And, you're right. They almost charged this thing. Cincinnati was able to erase an 18-point deficit. They scored 21 straight points. It was like all of a sudden Justin Herbert in the second half wasn't using his legs nearly as much. The explosive plays were not there. All of a sudden Cincinnati was great in the secondary and breaking up every kind of pass. But in the final 2 minutes, in the final 5 minutes, really, you had Evan McPherson, the kicker for the Bengals, miss 2 field goals that would have put the Bengals ahead. And instead, they both go wide to the left, and it set up this beautiful 4-play, 84-yard drive for the Chargers. 2 massive catches by Ladd McConkey from Georgia, and then obviously the J.K. Dobbins run.
But that's kind of on. I mean, listen, the Bengals knew McPherson has lost his confidence coming into this game. It's been a storyline in Cincinnati all season long. And they're 4-7 now and should probably be generously 7-4, maybe 8-3. It's incredible how they've. And here's the thing. I'm not making excuses because they were my Super Bowl pick, but they're 4-7 and they've lost to 6 winning teams. The Chargers are, what are the Chargers?
7-3.
7-3. They've beaten 1 winning team. So this is, I mean, look at who the Bengals have lost to. They lost to the Chargers last second. Baltimore, 2 losses to Baltimore. Both were crazy. 4th and 16 against the Chiefs. They did lose to Washington fair and square, but generally.
Your Eagles.
Eagles, who only have 2 losses, they've just run into a meat grinder of a schedule, and they can't win close games because they don't have a kicker. And also, there's a couple other things missing. Their defense is not good in general.
Yep.
They have 1 player, Trey Hendrickson. Otherwise, I'm not sure if they can stop anyone. But then again, last night, it looked like we saw the old Bengals for a minute.
In the second half,
right? The playoff Bengals. So why can't we get that the whole season, Maggie?
This is one of those years for them, and I think it's something, too, where I think you are getting guys, it looks like, Chase and Burrow have been so awesome despite the fact they can't win a game. These 2 guys have been so good. You added T. Higgins last night. He made a huge difference. But I think it's the offensive line, a lot of it too. There's times when Burrow has to get rid of the ball so fast and he's just under duress. I don't know. It's like death by 1,000 paper cuts, I think, with the Bengals, not to go so cliche about it. I don't think it's one thing. I think sometimes it's the defense. I think sometimes it's the offensive line. Sometimes it's guys can't catch balls. It's everything. I
totally agree. I mean, that's not an analytic, one of those seasons. That's not.
It is, though.
That has nothing to do with Devo.
Ask the 49ers about it. It's one of those seasons.
But at least you could, you know what's funny? You can point to injuries and holdouts, too, for both of them. And I was dead wrong about this. I said holdouts never affect you during the season, but T. Higgins being in and out of the lineup has really hurt them. Yeah, the line, Jesse Minter, the Chargers defensive coordinator, gets a lot of credit because they didn't know when the blitz was coming. Which I guess is Zach Taylor's fault or Joe Burrow's fault. I mean, he's still through for like 1,000,000 yards. I just don't know. Like, it feels like, so close with this team. Not going to happen. And now, I guess Zach Taylor's on the hot seat there, but I wouldn't put him. He's 4-7. But how can you put a coach on the hot seat when you lose this way? That's what I don't understand. Like, it's not like there's any lack of competitiveness. They just lose every one-score game. They've lost every one-score game.
Let's hear from Jamar Chase because he was calling out the play calling, which is Zach Taylor.
I play football on the field. I don't call plays, of course, so I can't really do nothing.
Do you think that's part of the finishing factor is plays stuff?
I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, here's the thing. You should be mad at Evan McPherson. I mean, you basically had 2 chances. Yeah, you didn't go up a touchdown, but you would have gone up 6 points and put a lot more pressure on the Chargers. J.K. Dobbins may have still scored that touchdown, but again, you wouldn't have been given good field position potentially. I think McPherson really he cost them. I mean,
totally.
It's not like so cut and dry. Obviously, no football game comes down to 2 plays, but kinda.
Wait, what? I did not hear that. Listen, I'm looking at the stats. Jamar Chase got 13 targets, only had 7 catches, including a play at the end where him and Burrow failed to connect, would have been a huge play. He's calling out the play calling. He gets passes all the time.
I don't know. I mean, again, he and Burrow have been good this year, but I think this goes back to one of those seasons. It's not an analytic. Vibes are not an analytic, but it just doesn't feel like they are on the same page. I think he's still ticked off about not getting a contract. I don't know. He's not playing like that.
Well, he's probably having the best season of any receiver.
Season.
He's probably the number 1 receiver in the NFL right now. But I don't know if it's vibes or close games. In baseball, they talk about this. Close games can go either way. Joe Burrow leading the league in passing, having statistically 27 touchdowns, 4 picks. If they had a winning record, would be right there in the MVP mix. What a disaster. I'm very frustrated by this team. But then again, you look at the names on the defense and wait a second. They really aren't. They're not like the Niners. We mentioned that team. Like the Niners have future Hall of Famers all up and down their depth chart. The Bengals aren't quite built that way. They're kind of good, but they're a little bit thin. Like they don't really have, when the defense is struggling and Trey Hendrickson can't make a play, who else is stepping up and making a play? There were a couple opportunities they had at the end of the game and they just blew it.
855-212-4227. So now the Bengals would have to win out to have a shot of making the playoffs.
Nah.
They'd have to win 6 games. They got to go 6 of their last 6. And that's not going to happen. They still have to. I know the schedule for them gets a little bit easier. I understand it, but you still got to play the Steelers.
Now, I know
this. You still have to play the Steelers twice, pardon me.
The Steelers own the Ravens, but I think the Bengals might own the Steelers. Double check that. I know in that division, there are certain sides that always go the same way, but maybe not. The Steelers might own the Bengals too. But if they get past the Steelers, then they got Cowboys bad, Tennessee bad, Cleveland terrible, Denver good, Pittsburgh good. Yeah,
it doesn't matter. I think this team is capable of losing to anybody.
But they've only lost to the best teams in the league, except for the Patriots in week 1.
Steelers have won 3 of the last 4.
Well, there you go. Okay.
I don't think the Commanders are one of the best teams in the league. Maybe.
Well, anyway, that's not a terrible loss. This is the Steelers. Okay, that's bad. But if they can get past the Steelers game, then I keep doing this. I've been doing this with the Bengals.
They have a second Steelers game.
They're 5-7. Then they get at Dallas. 6-7, at Tennessee 7-7, at Cleveland definitely 8-7, Denver at home
that Browns
9-7, and then at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's resting their starters.
Can they beat the Broncos?
Probably not, but maybe at home. Yeah, no, they can beat the Broncos. Yeah, I mean they'll be favored at home against the Broncos if somehow they go on this run. But by the way, you don't have a kicker. T. Higgins will be in and out of the lineup. There's no way you're having him. I don't know what his deal is. There's no way he's playing the rest of the season. You have a young running back in Chase Brown. You do not want to put this many carries on. We'll see. It's going to be tough.
I think your question about whether Zach Taylor's on the hot seat is a real one. Listen, I don't know if he deserves to be, but I'll just say this. I don't think anybody in the Bengals organization, when you get a healthy Joe Burrow for a whole year, if you missed the playoffs with a healthy Burrow and a healthy Chase.
Healthy-ish.
He's out there. This is not like years past where he's had to sit for 5 games or something like that. That's an indictment on everybody. And by the way, he's healthy-ish. He's playing great, Joe Burrow. Like, statistically, it's everyone around him that's letting him down. And not even Chase, actually. But you know what I'm saying. So he's been awesome. And so to waste a Joe Burrow year is just unfathomable.
Yeah, I mean, the problem has been defense. So they're 24th in defense, 9th in offense. Lou Anarumo, who can be outstanding in the postseason, has really been disappointing this year. I think it's partly his personnel. I don't think he really has a lot of weapons on his hands. So, I don't know. You're going to fire Zach Taylor when the offense is good and the defense is bad?
I don't know. I don't know.
By the way.
Also, I don't know who's out there that's going to make this that much better. Are you going to bring in Belichick or something like that? I doubt it.
Their roster is not headed in a positive direction.
You think about it, right? And we're going to talk a lot about everything that went on today. And by the way, you're welcome to call the show at 855-212-4227. These Mondays get nuts because we're trying to cover everything, pro, college, all the wild stuff we saw over the weekend. But if you want to talk about your team, just let us know. I think that there's a couple themes that are developing now for this NFL season. Number one, kickers can't hit the broadside of a barn. Nope. And the good ones that were used to nailing 50-yarders, 45-yarders with ease, that is no longer a given. And I think the amount of coaches that could be fired and then trying to fill those holes and trying to fill those jobs, I think is also going to become harder than ever.
What's it usually, 6 or 7? I mean, you think it'll be more than that this year?
Well, I just don't know if there's 6 or 7 really good coaches out there. Oh,
come on. Of course there are.
I don't know. EJ's Jets are going to be looking for a coach. Probably the Jags are looking for a coach.
You have the greatest coach in the history of the world on the market. The single best, except for maybe Paul Brown and Vince Lombardi. You have Bill Belichick out there.
Okay, but he's not going to the Jets. They're sworn enemies. He's going to go to Jacksonville? Okay. We're talking about John Gruden coming back. I'm hearing Rex Ryan's coming back. I'm hearing names getting
from Rex Ryan and John Gruden. That's who you're hearing those rumors from.
Yeah, it's them specifically.
Listen,
or more unproven coordinators.
Which are great. I mean, that's how you win in this NFL is you hire an unproven coordinator and he proves himself.
Dan Lanning? Again, we're begging Dan Lanning to stay at Oregon.
Well, listen, you have 3 strong candidates. You have obviously Belichick. You have obviously Mike Vrabel, both of whom should have gotten hired in the last cycle.
Sure.
Huge mistakes.
Vrabel's working for the Browns. What's he doing there? Because they stink.
And then you got Ben Johnson, who, again, is, I mean, I know you're not super into him, but he is the hottest. I mean, he should be at another team already. Then so that's 3, and you have 7 openings. You can find 4 coaches.
I don't know.
Doug Pederson won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and he's about to be fired.
I'm just saying, it's not that hard to find a coach.
I think you're underestimating. 855-212-4227. Again, so the victor goes the spoils, by the way. How about the Jim Harbaugh effect? Real, and it's happening.
Yeah, it's called getting an easy schedule.
Well,
effect.
It's called winning games that you probably would have lost last year. Once you cough up 18 points, you allow your opponent to score 21 straight. How many times did the Chargers lose that game? 100 times out of 100. And last night, they end up winning.
Is it so different than the 11-6 team 2 years ago with Brandon Staley? It's kind of...
Well, let's see if they, what they do in the playoffs.
If you give me a healthy Derwin James, a healthy Justin Herbert, and a healthy Joey Bosa, Staley was a wild card playoff team too. So I'm not sure that they've taken that next step yet. Next year, I'm picking them for the Super Bowl. But again, once they get into the AFC playoffs, that's an interesting question. How scary are they? I think they're just a touch behind some of those other contenders. The Chiefs, the Ravens, the Steelers. Well, not nearly. The Chiefs, the Ravens, and your Bills are probably a little bit ahead of them. But then again, you're right. Harbaugh has been outstanding. I'm sort of nitpicking.
855-212-4227. All right, bring it on, everybody. Let's do this on what is a wild Monday. College, pro. Give you my 5 silliest moments from the Tyson-Paul fight.
Only 5?
Yeah.
I whittled it down.
Are we going to break down the Grey Cup as well? The CFL Grey Cup?
We're going to leave that to you, Manny.
Toronto Argos, eh?
What stadium do they play in?
The Toronto Argos?
Yeah.
Does that make up for the Maple Leafs? 70 years of it.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think the Argos play in the same place where the Toronto FC plays, which would be BMO Stadium.
Someone check his work. I certainly don't know it. This is Manny's superpowers. He knows the name of every stadium. Well,
BMO Field.
We'll give it to you. What'd you say? Stadium?
Yeah, I said stadium originally. It's field.
Stadium was wrong. Field is right.
That's all right. You get it.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Normally, we just test you on North America, the U.S. rather. Now, all of North America, Canada, too. Be on alert. 855-212-4227.
Watch out, ladies.
Is that pickup line in a bar? Hey, do you know where the Pittsburgh Steelers play?
PNC Park, baby girl.
I thought it was Acrisure Stadium, no?
Yeah, Pittsburgh
Pirates,
Steelers.
Right?
Steelers.
Oh, she said the Steelers?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're not going home with that woman.
And she's out the door.
Not going home with anybody from Pittsburgh, apparently.
Yeah, epic fail right there. PNC Park. This weirdo doesn't even know where the Steelers play.
Oh, Manny. I hope that's in whatever social media apps you may be on. I hope that's in the bio. I know every stadium, and you don't.
Well, maybe that's why I don't get any matches.
Just wait. Right woman's out there. 855-212-4227. Okay, we've got that to do. We've got MVP to discuss. How about the Kansas City Chiefs? Undefeated no longer. But is there a reason to panic about their offense? We'll also get to the San Francisco 49ers, 5-5. Not how they drew it up. Lots to do. Glad to be doing it with you on this Monday morning, MVP.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. Hey, Maggie, are we going to lose you this week? Are you headed up to Western New York for the parade? Because the Bills apparently beat the Chiefs in the regular season. I guess that means that they it's really might be the only parade you're getting. No, big win by the Bills. How you doing? Are you okay? Felt like there was a lot of anxiety coming out of Jersey last night.
Definitely. I had to hit the treadmill for the second half of the game, walk for over an hour. Treadmill wasn't really working. It was more the Josh Allen touchdown run at the end of the game, the scramble, that really was the one thing that really helped calm my nerves after a while. But here's the thing. We know that the game doesn't mean much when it comes to January. I said that before the game. I'm going to stick with that after the game. However, in the moment, did feel kind of good to end Kansas City's winning streak and also just try to not let the mental aspect of this maybe get away from Buffalo, right? Like the idea that there are teams that you just cannot beat. And to be fair, the Bills cannot beat the Chiefs in the playoffs, but you got to hang in these rivalries. And I think
based on what, though? Like, why do you say that?
Because I think that if Kansas City had come in and beaten the Bills again in Buffalo, there would have been like the belief factor would have been at a -10, like a less than 0. Now I think you can at least, they'll say all the right things, and they did. It's just another game. You know, we'll see them in January again or whatever. I think you gotta show that it's not just going to become so one-sided and so lopsided. And then we'll see if things start changing in the postseason too.
Doesn't history say the exact opposite?
I think it's like a basketball analogy of a shooter needing to see the ball go through the basket, even if it's a free throw. And maybe that's something that gets you kick-started a little bit.
2022, Bills beat them 24-20 in Arrowhead. 2023, Bills beat them 2017 in Arrowhead. Then they lost in the 23 playoffs. 2021, the Bills beat them 38-20 in Arrowhead. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this was different. It was in Buffalo. I hear you. The one thing about mobile quarterbacks is something changes in the postseason. Like the sort of weird weapons that Buffalo has, to me, like, are you really going to get that Keon Coleman catch when it matters? And the other question is, are the Chiefs in preseason mode? Like, who's their offensive weapon? What's going on here?
Well, didn't you notice something I thought I noticed that the Chiefs did yesterday? First, Xavier Worthy. It felt like they were really featuring him early on,
right?
You know, like sliced and diced all Bills fans' hearts because they traded with the Chiefs and the Chiefs selected Xavier Worthy, knew the anytime touchdown was going to cash, just all of that. Then did you notice what happened in the second half? They really didn't go to him, and really in the fourth quarter, it became the DeAndre Hopkins show. I was like, oh, this is the maneuver they're going to try to pull here. Andy Reid's been kind of holding Hopkins, and then all of a sudden, the fourth quarter, he has a massive catch and drew a massive PI call in the end zone that led to a Chiefs touchdown. And I was like, oh, that DeAndre Hopkins in the fourth quarter, because it's not going to be Kelsey anymore. Unless we see a playoff run like he had last year where all of a sudden he puts it together, it's really got to be more Hopkins in that fourth quarter. And I thought that was a brilliant game plan, but the Bills just ended up being able to score on defense. On their defense.
Hopkins had 3 catches for 29 yards yesterday.
I know, but did you see the big PI call that he drew in the end zone? That was a massive part of the game.
The problem is he's just not as fast anymore. The Football Night in America guys had an interesting conversation. They basically were saying, like, oh, okay, so it's obvious the Chiefs are not explosive. It's 2 weeks in a row where they've really done nothing on offense. Last year, around now, the Rashee Rice thing started to happen. And they're like, there's no Rashee Rice to the rescue. Actually, Rashee Rice was at the Tyson fight. But regardless,
they didn't drive there.
And I think they disagree. Maybe Hopkins is the Rashee Rice, but there's no super fast guy to make plays for Mahomes. So that I think is a concern.
Well, I mean, Worthy has speed, and McCole Hardman has speed.
McCole Hardman. I mean, come on.
Juju Smith-Schuster comes out of nowhere, and Hopkins comes out of nowhere, and they've got Gray and Watson, and they've got plenty of guys.
Do you understand everyone you just named, except for, it's flawed. Watson can't catch, and he came
up with a huge catch that the inside 2 minutes, the refs didn't even take a second look at because it wasn't a catch, but he got credited with a catch.
Yeah, there's definitely, Rice was just a massive injury, and I think they hope that Xavier Worthy can be that guy, but I don't know if he can.
Pacheco's coming back. They have Kareem Hunt and Pacheco.
I'm
not pouring one out and crying for the Chiefs here.
I think you keep on talking about possession guys. Their longest play was 31 yards yesterday, and they only had one play over 20 yards the whole game. Like, there's something, either they're just hiding everything and they have plays that, that's bad. That's like Cleveland Browns bad. That's really, you're not worried about their explosiveness at all?
No, I'm really not.
I'm really worried.
And I imagine that if the Bills and the Chiefs meet again in the postseason, everyone's going to pick the Chiefs. So I don't think any of this stuff really does matter. And last night you saw some interesting things from guys on the Bills who everyone knows Shakir. Bills could not get the run game going at all. The Chiefs defense just had them completely bottled up. And it was basically, besides, Shakir, was the Curtis Samuel game. And that dude he's been a rumor this entire season.
I'm not sure.
Major catches.
You said something interesting.
And it was the Josh Allen game. It's all on Josh.
You said something interesting last week, like maybe the Bills need a run where, like, the Yankees, they missed their best opponents in the AL series. I'm not sure the Chiefs get to the Bills this year because I just think this is definitely the weakest version of the 3 years.
You think they're that vulnerable, even with the defense as good as it is?
Yeah, I think you can't have a bottom 10 offense. And I don't know, I just don't see the answers there offensively. Obviously they're keeping Kelsey to the side for now, unless there's something, is it possible Kelsey got old? Am I crazy? Of course I'm going to regret this, but it just sure seems like Travis Kelsey even took a step off from last year. Watch him come back in the postseason. Did he play last night?
He had 2 catches, I think, for 8 yards. He did nothing. He has no speed anymore, so he can't break tackles. I think this is a question, EJ, for the poll.
Yeah.
Is this
a watered down version of the Chiefs?
I was going to say, do we not get a Chiefs-Bills rematch because of the Chiefs, not because of the Bills? That's a hard thing to put on a poll. I can't believe it.
I look at Mahomes' numbers, and I'm shocked at how bad they are. He's 15 touchdowns, 11 picks, barely throwing for any yards this year. What is he doing?
Well, from the top of the AFC, the creme de la creme of the AFC, to the bottom, did I say NFC? A creme de la creme of the AFC, to the bottom of the AFC, Brad in Sacramento wants to talk about his beloved Las Vegas Raiders. Another L yesterday by the Raiders, Brad. How are you?
Not too good. How you guys doing? Hey, I just want to let you guys know you guys have an awesome show, and I love listening to you guys.
Oh, thank you. What's on your mind about the 2-8 Vegas Raiders?
Is our coach on the hot seat, or is he going to be on the hot seat?
The answer is he should be. Now, the question is, the fact that you don't have a quarterback, was this whole season kind of set up to fail?
Yeah, I know. We got to turn something around. I know we say this every year, but, man, we need help.
I know. You do.
Well, you got Tom Brady there. Maybe there's a whole franchise reset next year. I'm being serious. I don't know if Brady's going to run it, but obviously I think, I know Tom Telesco just got there. Just a total reset. I'm not saying Belichick, but bring in somebody and just start anew. Because I don't think there's much to build on. And unfortunately, Max Crosby, as great as he is getting older. So why not just maybe you look at it that way, Brad? We're like, okay, we're basically at 0 and we can rebuild from there.
Yeah, word. I like what you say. You guys have a good night, man.
Thanks, Brad. Same to you. Get wherever you're going safely. I think Brad, everything's on the table for Brad. I mean, the Raiders have lost 6 in a row. They lost in Miami yesterday. Tua throws 3 touchdown passes. They've lost 6 in a row and 7 of their last 8. They got to hope Brady is as good at team building as he was as actually playing quarterback, because they need that kind of help.
Can we also, by the way, change the Raiders slogan from commitment to excellence to we need help? Like Brad kind of put it together very clearly what the Raiders' problem has been for the last 20 years. We need help. No commitment to excellence, no just win, baby. We need help.
Seems like an ownership problem. I mean,
yeah.
It's not just the haircut. It just seems like for some reason they're one of these franchises that keeps getting its own way. And I don't think, by the way, has Brady announced that he's going to be a team builder there?
No, we're foisting this on him because we don't want to watch the Raiders suck anymore. And I think the other part, let's change their slogan from just win, baby to got any ideas?
Yeah.
Here's one, have Brady play.
I was going to say, that's the best idea, but they need to draft a quarterback, obviously.
Oh, man, they should have drafted Michael Penix. He came in garbage time. That guy still got a cannon. First of all, Brock Bowers is probably the best rookie tight end I've ever seen. So put that to the side.
Yeah.
Why didn't they take one this year? This past draft, it was an awesome quarterback draft. Bo Nix is great. I mean, all those guys were right there for him.
I think we said that.
We did.
I think we did say that.
Michael Penix feels like a Raider. I can't believe they didn't take that guy.
855-212-4227. If Penix looks really good, yes. How many times could I mispronounce his name? Turns out a lot. Andrew Bogish has headlines for us. Good luck recapping this crazy weekend.
Guys, good morning. Your headlines are sponsored by LinkedIn. Let LinkedIn's deep candidate insights help you find your next Pro Bowl hire today. To post your job for free, go to linkedin.com/recruitment. Terms and conditions apply. Whoop. While the Steelers were fighting off the Ravens and the Bills were dropping the Chiefs, the Lions were waxing the Jaguars.
1st and goal from 9. Goff up under center, turns, fakes the give to Jameer, throws, end zone, caught, Amon-Ra St. Brown, touchdown Detroit Lions. Goff with a dart, 14 is having a day, 16 is having a day, this whole team is having a day.
Dan Miller on Lions Radio. Detroit crushed Jacksonville 52-6. That's like an FBS versus FCS score. Detroit has won 8 in a row, 9-1 overall, their best start since 1934. Jared Goff threw 4 touchdowns, 2 of them to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Here's my favorite fact from this one. The Lions outgained the Jaguars by 475 yards, the third largest margin in NFL history. Head coach Dan Campbell.
Look, everybody on offense is going to get a game ball for that. I mean, that was, you get over 600 yards of offense, and you're whatever that was, 5 of 5 in the red zone. 3rd down was outstanding. I don't know how many explosives we had, but we had a ton.
The only bad news for Detroit is that linebacker Alex Anzalone broke his forearm yesterday and is out 6 to 8 weeks. The Broncos hammered the Falcons 38-6. Bo Nix, 4 touchdown passes, just 5 incompletions. Tua with 3 scores in the Dolphins' 34-19 win over those Raiders. And Justin Herbert threw for 2 as the Chargers built a 27-6 third-quarter lead on the Bengals on Sunday Night Football. Cincy erased all of that, but then J.K. Dobbins ran one in from 29 yards out with 18 seconds left for a 34-27 L.A. win. They are 7-3 for the first time in 6 seasons. The Cleveland Cavaliers are the 4th team ever to start 15-0 after a 128-114 decision over the Hornets last night. Up next for Kenny Atkinson's team, the Celtics, tomorrow night.
I think everybody's going to be watching, and I know our guys are anxious. I know they, remember last year, and we're going well. They're going well. Boston Garden. I mean, what's better than that? I mean, this is just great for the league.
The 3 other 15-0 teams, the 2016 Warriors, the 93 Rockets, and our favorite, the 1949 Washington Capitals with an O.
That's a hockey team.
No, this is with the O version of Capital, like the Capital. Apparently, they did play basketball, and they were good at it, at least for 1949.
Alexander Ovechkin played basketball?
When Chris Webber and Tom Gugliotta were the forwards on that team.
Back in the day, they used to name every team in a city the same thing. Like there was a NFL team called the Yankees. Called the Yankees and the Dodgers, I think.
St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah. Back in the day, that used to be a thing. Like I'm talking like 30s.
Did we even try back in the 1930s?
Do you know where the Washington Capitals in 1949 played, Manny?
Name the arena.
RFK Stadium.
Probably like an armory.
Shared with a local high school.
The 92nd Street Y.
And everybody dribbled with their right hand back then. That's it. Any highlight you see, there's left hand was not invented until 1959.
Well, technically, I don't think the highlight was invented until like 1960.
Well, you get the radio. Bob Cousy dribbles through the lane.
One-handed like usual. Also in the NBA last night, the Clippers beat the Jazz 116-105. Within that, James Harden passing Ray Allen for number 2 on the all-time three-pointers list.
That doesn't feel right.
No.
It does not.
No.
The only good news is he's about 900 and counting behind Steph. So 2 is the ceiling for Harden.
That is good news.
He's going to shoot a lot.
Yeah, by the way, are we sure?
I think we're good.
I'm the petty king.
Penn State might be Philadelphia's college football team, but Temple is actually in Philadelphia, and the Owls yesterday fired Stan Drayton the morning after a rare win. They beat FAU in OT, but still thought Stan had to go. They are 9-25, 4-18 in conference over his 3 seasons, on their way here to a 5th straight losing season.
Wow!
Manny's already mentioned Alex Ovechkin. 3 more goals for him last night in the Capitals' 5-2 win in Vegas. That's 866 for his career. He now needs just 29 to pass Wayne Gretzky for the most in hockey history. The Rangers, a 2-0 win in Seattle, 24 saves for Jonathan Quick. And for some reason, the WNBA draft lottery was yesterday. The Dallas Wings won it, which means they'll get to pick Paige Beckers next spring.
That's like a guarantee. That's like Akeem Olajuwon. Like that's a sure. I read that headline. There's no way anyone goes ahead of her.
I don't think so.
They've already photoshopped her in the jersey. I feel like she should just get to play.
But why was it yesterday? Does anyone, you basketball people, have any idea why yesterday was the day for this?
I don't know. It feels
like baseball giving out the gold gloves on a Sunday night.
Yeah.
I think it's a WNBA tradition during week 11 in the NFL season. They do the lottery. Come on.
It was weird. I don't know why they just didn't do it during the playoffs like the NBA does, which I think works well.
Right. We don't need to know who the number 1 pick is now. The pick's not made till after the college season.
Or do it after the college season. Right. I mean, the only thing I think of is maybe there's an issue with like the fact that there's a season that's going to be played with these women playing overseas, some of them playing the new 3-on-3 league. Perhaps that makes, deciding your roster a little different by the time you get to the summer. Like, I don't know. It's the only thing I can think of.
Good try.
Yeah, I mean,
I tried.
It's something. Also, even just like the time, do it on a Wednesday. Just anything. Own the news cycle for 5 minutes. Anyway.
I'm done for now.
All right. Well, that was good. We got lots more to do. We've got NFL. We've got college football. We had 2 fights over the weekend. We technically had like 17 fights over the weekend, but like 2 headliners. And see you guys on the phones as well. If we're not talking about your team, then you got to call in 855-212-4227. Up next, we tackle the Niners. A loss to the Seahawks. Geno Smith putting on the cape in the final seconds and minutes of the game. We get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Gino gets him back to the line of scrimmage, 22-21, gets the snap, looks, steps up, gonna run, 10, 5, Gino, touchdown, Seahawks! Holy catfish, Geno Smith!
Seahawks Radio Network, and yeah, a little cathartic, I think, in that touchdown run for Geno. He had lost 5 straight to the San Francisco 49ers. Overall, as a team, the team had lost 6 straight to San Francisco. The Seahawks themselves had lost 5 of 6 coming into this game. The season's on life support. they get the news, Perloff, what was it, Saturday, that all of a sudden, or Friday, late Friday night, all of a sudden their center is just retiring. That's it. For personal reasons, everyone's supporting him. We're not here to judge that decision. Just saying the amount of stuff that they were dealing with heading into this game, I bet that did feel very good for Geno Smith to run in that touchdown and give the Seahawks a win. And now the 49ers' shot at the playoffs looks like it is just dwindling, waning, whatever. It's serious now. We are in a serious situation with San Francisco that they are in danger of missing the postseason.
Yeah, it feels like a total wild card crapshoot in the NFC West. Like, I guess the Cardinals have an angle, but I have no idea who's coming out of this division. I don't think it's going to be Seahawks. I think it's going to be the Niners, Rams, or Cardinals, or probably the Cardinals. I mean, this is one of those. Remember when if Bosa's out, then it's done.
So Nick Bosa re-aggravated a hip injury, also his oblique, and he sat out for half of the third quarter and all of the fourth.
I know you saw him reaching at that part of the body. Like, that doesn't recover. So the only thing that really, really sinks the 49ers, like the only death knell, if Bosa's not on the field, they just don't have any other real. I mean, Fred Warner's a great player, but they were harmless without. Geno Smith was so confident once Bosa went out of the game. The other thing, too, is Kittle on the sideline killed them. They just don't have any weapons. I said to EJ
they
before,
do have weapons. I'm sorry. I can't. I know Brayuk's gone for the year.
Yeah.
And yes, Kittle had the hamstring.
They have Jawan Jennings, and that's it.
Well, Jawan Jennings ended up with a big third down.
Yeah.
But you have Christian McCaffrey back.
Toast.
You've got,
Put a fork in him. I mean, they kept feeding him the ball. It's like he is one of the least explosive players out there right now. That was a mistake they should have had the young running backs in. I'm like, why are you giving it to McCaffrey all these times?
He's their guy. I mean, you have Deebo Samuel. These are guys they paid, Pearl, though.
Done.
Okay.
There's nothing left with Deebo.
But no one was
Deebo
saying that going into this season. So
EJ was.
Good for you, EJ.
Hi, guys.
Well, the thing is, I mean, the Niners have always been under Shanahan a little precarious on health. Like, you need Bosa to stay healthy. You kind of be helpful if Kittle could stay healthy. You really, like, Brock Purdy loves Kittle, and I don't think he knows really, and he loves Jawan Jennings. Those are his two guys. After that, I just I think that McCaffrey will eventually get back into shape and be good, but it's going to be too late.
So you're predicting no playoffs?
Well, tell me the health update tomorrow. Like,
God knows.
I think they might shut it down for. Isn't Bosa going to need surgery?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a hip. It's an oblique. Let's hear a little from Nick Bosa. Can I hear cut 31, please, Manny? Admitting that, very injured.
I guess I was compensating. Pushed through last week, and the same thing happened to my other oblique. So, see what I'm feeling like tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, and we're all going to be waiting on that one. Here's Fred Warner, of course, the other star on defense for the 49ers, saying the blown fourth quarter leads have been infuriating.
It's just infuriating, honestly. Yeah, I'm always going to have all the confidence in the world in everybody that we have in our building. You know, all the answers are in here. It's just about doing it.
Okay, here's a stat for you that's going to blow your mind if you're a 49er fan, but you may already recognize this. They have now blown leads to every team in their division in the last 2 minutes of the game.
Not good.
I mean, add on top of this, Kyle Shanahan's reputation for blown leads in Super Bowls, and now we're just talking about division games here. Every single team, they've blown a lead in the last 2 minutes. That is not winning football, clearly.
That's not really Kyle Shanahan football, but usually they dominate that division, even close games. I think last year they did blow out teams, but also they won close. They used to win all these games, and now there's something off. Kittle would have been huge last night. They really missed him big time. I know he's a hamstring injury. And their schedule's ridiculously tough. It's probably done. It's probably over.
I mean, only 277 yards of offense now. They had 9 penalties in this game, 7 of which came on the offensive side. And it's just all trending in a bad direction here for the 49ers. Now, listen, a lot of football left to play, so you can't say for sure that they're not going to make it into the playoffs, Perloff, but their schedule, not easy.
No, terrible.
So you got to go to the Packers, then you go to the Bills, and the Bills are going to be coming off their bye, okay? Then you get the Bears, okay, but then we're back into the division with the Rams. You're at the Dolphins, who look like they've gotten a shot in the arm. then the Lions, good luck with all that, and then you finish out at the Cardinals, which could end up being a massive game in terms of NFC West standing. So, yeah, this is not what 49er fans, I think, had in mind. You go to overtime in the Super Bowl. You think, all right, we're going to be back with a vengeance this year. You know, the offseason maybe doesn't go as well as you thought with holdouts and whatever, but you thought at least you'd be, I would say dominating the division, but maybe.
Yeah, but did you know Christian McCaffrey wasn't going to play?
Well, nobody did.
Actually, we were given a hint in the offseason. Remember we ran into a NFL Network broadcaster who said, the funniest thing, we interviewed Christian McCaffrey in August, and he was wearing a boot.
Yeah, he was limping around, they said.
But what happened was the Niners paid him in the offseason.
Yeah.
Even though they must have known he wasn't going to play. Well, he really has not been a presence at all this season. I know he's played 2 games. It's not the old Christian McCaffrey. You can see that. He's averaging about 4 yards a carry. Honestly, I would not emphasize him as much as they are. I think Shanahan's trying to prove something. They're just a total mess. And that being said, they should have a much better record. They've blown a lot of games.
Yeah, exactly. Like 3 to the division.
Yeah,
and that stuff's going to catch up to you.
Yeah, their special teams didn't kill them yesterday, but that's been their main Achilles heel this year. Then when if Bosa's out, forget it. It's done. I don't know. I mean, here's a question for you, though. If they don't make the playoffs this year, is the window closed?
Listen, I don't think so because you haven't even gotten into the meat of the Brock Purdy's career yet. If we're really talking about the future of the 49ers, you will have money committed to Purdy after this season. You have money committed to Ayuk. You have money committed to McCaffrey. Debo and Kittle, we'll see what their future holds. There's not a lot of money for them. Bosa's there. Warner's there. These guys aren't the core of the team. Trent Williams just got bit of a bump.
He's pretty old.
Well, but
36, isn't he?
I mean, I don't know. Andrew Whitworth played until his late 30s. Joe Thomas played till his 30s. They were both good left tackles.
Yeah, I mean, I think the question is, can they continue to hit on these draft picks? Because they seem to have, unfortunately, this year's first-round pick, Ricky Pearsall.
Well, unfortunate circumstances for him, and he's come back despite all that.
Yeah, and he didn't really do anything yesterday. That's been, you look at some of the other rookie receivers making impact around the NFL. They needed that from Pearsall because of the lack of weapons, and they're not getting it.
On the flip side here, and you're welcome to weigh in on the 49ers because I'm sure it's panic time for guys like Leland and other of the 49er fans who call our show at 855-212-4227. But how about Seattle? I don't know what the rest of the season is going to hold for them, Pearl, but they are so different with DK Metcalf back in the lineup. It is night and day.
Yeah, and now they have a superstar in Jackson Smith-Njigba. He's
awesome
amazing
yesterday.
So that's another team, though. They're in limbo. They're going to be 8-9, 9-8 forever. As amazing as Geno Smith was last night, I had this thought. He's great, but they are not going to keep him next year. Because seems to be a ceiling with how high you can go with Geno Smith, even though he makes incredible plays.
Can we hear from Geno, please, Manny Cut 38, on how calm he felt in the final drive where he scores with about 12 seconds left, and that's the game winner?
I was out there smiling on that last drive. When I walked on the field, I just kind of felt like angels in the outfield, somebody just rubbing my shoulders the whole time, and I just felt like there was no pressure. And I think the perspective that I have, that I've gained over my career, has allowed me to play that way. And so whenever there is a moment or a mistake that's made, I never really get too down on myself. And I also don't get too high when good things happen.
He went 7 of 8 for 54 yards on that final drive. The 13-yard touchdown run with 12 seconds left was the difference. I mean, listen, I think unless you're a 49er fan or rooting for another team in that division, you felt good for Geno because he was embattled. I don't know what the future holds. It's not a lot of money that they owe to him. He took a very team-friendly deal when he was probably at the height of his whatever powers he's had over the last couple of years. And he would be the guy I would want to mentor my next quarterback. I don't want Geno Smith leaving my building if I'm the Seahawks. I want him there, even if I draft another guy, even if I have to pay him a little more just to be the mentor.
Oh, I wouldn't do that. He's way too good to be a bridge quarterback right now. That never, ever works. That means he'll be benched in week 8. Here's my question. This is a warning, I think, to EJ and other Jets fans. To have Geno Smith out there winning games, to have Sam Darnold out there winning games. You can't let Aaron Rodgers out of the building because he'll probably be amazing next year, too. The former Jets quarterbacks are on fire around the NFL.
I mean, Zach Wilson has won more games than Aaron Rodgers. Like, it's already rock bottom for the Jets. Don't make them feel worse. Bro.
Yeah, I mean, just I did see a lot of people saying Geno and Darnold with another 2-0, Aaron Rodgers 0-1.
You guys know the Broncos would be 8-1 if they started Zach Wilson instead of Pro Nix.
Zach Wilson's brother is playing better than Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, man. 855-212-4227. All right, 49er fans, Seahawk fans. We know we're on in both cities. How are you guys feeling? Very different. Very different. And the Arizona Cardinals on their bye week. Hey, how about that? Still in first place. All right. Is there a new sheriff in town in the AFC?
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Allen going to step up in the pocket. Now he's going to take it and run, and he's got the first down and more. 10, 5, and muscles his way into the end zone for an unbelievable 26-yard touchdown run. Are you kidding me?
Bills Radio Network, that was on a 4th and 2 call. Gutsy decision by the Bills, and generally kind of used to them playing things so conservatively in those moments, but they put the offense, they put the game in Josh Allen's hands, and Perloff, that's why he's the MVP front runner this morning. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Yes.
Wait, was that gutsy, or is that just total fear of your kicker not being good?
Oh, yeah, that too. I mean, kickers around the league, we could have do another 4-hour show on top of this one just on the state of kicking right now.
Take me to the treadmill on that particular play, 4th and 2. I know, and I know you well enough. I've known you a long time. There's if they'd sent Tyler Bass, the kicker, out of there, you would have panicked.
Definitely, but at first I was like, oh, just take the points. But you know what? I'm glad I'm not the coach.
It was a long field goal. No, it was the right call. The analytics said go for 4th and 2. And Josh Allen, when he runs, is incredibly effective. There's just no way around it. The question is this a Super Bowl formula?
It hasn't been yet. And we'll see. And I wish I could say yes with any kind of confidence. I do think it was. Listen, is it going to mean a lot in January? I'm not sure. But I think it's good for the Bills to at least keep themselves in this rivalry because with all of the close games that the Chiefs have had, and this would have been another come-from-behind win, right? What was it, 8 of their 9 have been all come-from-behind wins. They were trailing by 2 points at halftime. It would have been another one of those boogeyman moments, I always say, for the Chiefs, where it's like you feel like you're playing them, you're playing the refs. When you're at Arrowhead, you feel like you're playing the crowd. They just have so many things that go in their favor. And for the Bills to get this win, I thought, listen, it's important for today. Does it matter in January? We've already said this a million times, no. However, with the Ravens losing yesterday to the Steelers, we'll unpack that game in just a minute. And with the Bills putting the end of the streak, I think Josh Allen should be the MVP this year. The only thing is Jared Goff. I mean, the Lions are such a buzzsaw right now. And I know he threw 5 picks last weekend, but Goff obviously has to be in consideration too, right?
Well, yeah, and let's not forget Lamar Jackson too. But so the Bills and the Lions go head-to-head on December 15th, kind of like Lamar Jackson and Brock Purdy went head-to-head last year. And if you remember how that game went, that was a decisive answer.
Yep.
I think there's a little bit more to be determined here. I also think if Lamar gets super hot at the end of the year, which, I mean, the Steelers are his kryptonite. That's very clear.
Yep.
They lost 18-16 yesterday. They've lost that game the same exact way every time Lamar's on the field. So maybe he gets hot. It's really interesting to me. Let's forget about what it means. What about home field now?
Yeah.
That's a huge deal. Because I think the Chiefs are not playing like a team who is going to stay strong. I mean, they probably have 2, 3, or 4 losses on the schedule.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe this starts a little bit of the floodgates opening up where the luck starts to go a different way.
Or are they even trying to win these games? I mean, I think that's a legit question. Are they really, are they going to sell out to win a lot of these games? I think maybe they're kind of being conservative.
Well, I mean, I don't think the defense, they've been the secret sauce to this whole thing, and the Bills have been the first team to score 30 on them going back to last season. So I don't think the defense was holding anything back. I think the defense was there. This might just be the Chiefs' offense until they hit their second gear, which is most likely going to happen around late December.
Yeah, well, Mahomes will start scrambling more. Travis Kelce will start being more involved in the offense. Pacheco will come back. So I'm very curious about who the Chiefs are. Right now, they just seem very, very non-explosive. I think you and I see them differently because you've been burned by them so many times.
So many times.
So I'm going to be the fool who says, you know what, I just don't think they have enough weapons, and then they'll find them in January. But you look at them now, they are really not scary on offense at all.
But they are kind of scary, though, even in the same, they are, though, because they've found ways to win. And you know that they're not going to get blown out. So every game's going to be tight. And
finding ways to win doesn't scare me. Losing 52-6 to the Detroit Lions and having no idea who to cover, that scares me. It has to be a miracle throw by Patrick Mahomes to some guy who's all pretty well covered. There's just no margin for error with the way the Chiefs play right now.
Yeah, well, this might not be the best version of them. I mean, I think that's not a hot take. Yeah. This is probably not the best version of them, but the defense has been the best version.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, you're right.
And I always think there's that thing there with Mahomes. Watching the game last night, it really just reiterated to me, it is so important for the Bills to get home field. And I know last year they lost to the Chiefs when they had home field. You need another bite at the apple of them at your place because there were already two major calls. One was a missed face mask on a drive at the end of the half that should have the Bills ended up scoring on that drive anyway, but they should have given them 15 yards, blatantly missed, blatantly not called. And then inside of 2 minutes, when the Bills can't even challenge, it was a pass that was not caught by Watson that they never looked at again. And I think when you're in Kansas City, it's just the way that referees are, Perloff, you're just going to end up getting another call or two. And I'm not even saying that, the borderline ones are going to go for the home team. And I think we know this about refereeing. We know this about human nature of the refs. You're never going to get that out of the game. And I think for that reason, the Bills need this game in Buffalo if it's going to happen again in January.
Yeah, I mean, they've lost a few in Buffalo in the playoffs.
They've lost every which way you can lose to the Chiefs.
Yeah, they lost to the Bengals in Buffalo.
They did. They got smoked by the Bengals
in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Again, honestly, you have to beat this Chiefs team twice. It's very challenging.
You got to beat the Chiefs. You got to beat the refs. You got to beat the fans. You got to beat every part of it.
Yeah.
Every part of it.
Yeah. You're right. So I do think it is important to get home field, but even that does not guarantee anything. You're going to be in a real close game. This is going to come down. Once again, Maggie, they are going to test your resolve come January, and you know it, even though they look great.
Well, here's the problem. Yeah. Here's the other part, too. There is a reality here of we're talking about, are we guaranteed to get a Chiefs-Bills rematch because we're not sure about the Chiefs? I'm not so sure about the Bills. Look at some of the teams you're playing in the bottom of the AFC playoffs. Anyone want to play the Denver Broncos right now?
Yes.
Anyone want to play the Chargers?
No.
Anyone want to play the Houston Texans or
yes.
whatever?
Oh, my God. Definitely.
Texans already beat the Bills. The Ravens
but no,
smoked the Bills.
That's an
earlier
version.
You want to play the Steelers right now? No, thank you.
Yes, of course I want to play the Steelers and the Texans and the Broncos. Very much so.
These are teams that are winning games. I know the Broncos, when they just swept the NFC South, this was a team that Sean Payton, when he was the coach of the Saints, used to destroy. So I get that. There was a little institutional knowledge of those teams. But still, these are teams that are winning games and winning them soundly. Maybe the Chargers last night was a
the Chargers might scare
epic
you,
poem, but
really, what are you seeing in the Houston Texans? That
they already
scared?
beat the Bills once.
No, I know, but the team that you see right now that plays tonight, they are non-threatening.
Watch what they do to Dallas tonight.
I don't know. I mean, are the Texans? I guess Nico Collins is playing. It's a different thing. Are they? Weren't they fully healthy kind of when they played the Bills? That team is a distant memory in Houston. They lost to the Jets, Maggie.
I get that.
So
they
if
were
you're
not favored in that game. Everyone knew that they were going to lose that game except for you and me.
I know.
So I don't know.
I know. I just feel like it does feel to me that there's the Bills, there's the Chiefs, there's the Ravens, and then the Chargers and Steelers are just a touch below, and then the rest of it doesn't scare me. And even the Steelers and the Chargers don't really scare me yet. the Chargers is starting to scare me a little bit. Because if Justin Herbert's going to run like crazy, like he has been, and he doesn't get hurt, then they could be really good.
855-212-4227. Vulnerable Chiefs team. You taking anything away from the Bills beating the Chiefs and stopping their streak at 9-0? Did you see Larry Zonko was popping champagne?
Oh, yeah. Mercury Morris sadly passed. Maybe that was a couple years ago, but one time I did. Have you ever done the interview with the 72 Dolphins?
Mm-mm.
Oh yeah, I sat with Mercury Morris and Jim Kick, and I will give them full credit. Nobody has ever embraced a win except the 85 Bears and the 72 Dolphins. I mean, it's been 50 years of living off this season.
They were all-time seasons.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the Dolphins haven't done much in the last 40 years.
Dolphins won yesterday, and listen, you beat the Raiders at home. They're not throwing you a parade. I get that.
Yeah.
But they have looked better over the last 2
get out of here.
They have.
Is there an AFC team that you are not scared of? I mean, is there one team? Well, the Browns and the Jags. Do you think would you be confident headed into Jacksonville? At what point, Maggie? You are like Lou Holtz. You are just praising your other opponents, like, oh, I don't want to see those Denver Broncos. If the Bills can't beat Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos, then you might as well just fold the franchise.
Wait a minute. Bo Nix had 300 yards yesterday.
Oh, my God. You were so scared of the other opponents. Like, you got to focus on the Chiefs and the Ravens. Do not talk about the Broncos. Do not worry about the Houston Texans. You're fine.
That's the moment.
You have no confidence in your own team.
Perloff, would you? Would you?
I'm an Eagles fan, and no.
855-212-4227. Leland is in Sacramento. The 49ers are at 500, 5-5. They lose to the Seahawks at home yesterday. Last second, Geno Smith rushing touchdown. Leland, state of the franchise is what?
I think there's a lot of uncertainty in San Francisco right now. I think Kyle Shanahan is scrambling for answers, and I think this year the stage is too big for him. And I think that's where a lot of the speculation goes. It seems like they can't scheme their receivers open. It seems like they can't get a running game going, even though Christian McCaffrey is back, and it's disappointing. And as a fan of football, I'm just going to have to look at other teams in the area, maybe the Chargers, watch some of their games, the Rams, watch some of their games. And even, I took a trip to Arizona a couple months ago. I'm even going to have to start watching some, Cardinals games to get my football fix. I'm not getting it with the Niners right now.
Leland, I get being upset, but this is a team that's taken you to the playoffs and the Super Bowl. I mean, you're going to jump off the bandwagon now at 5-5.
I'm not giving up on them. It's just that I'm going to have to watch other teams to get that. I think the feeling as a fan when you see your team win, I'm going to have to expand my orbit a little bit and not be so focused on the 49ers. I'm going to watch other teams and be a bigger fan of the NFL. So like you and Perloff, one of the reasons I listen to this show is you guys talk so much about the NFL as a whole. And I'm not saying I'm giving up on the 49ers, Perloff, but you guys do. You really bring in you bring in the whole NFL experience. For a fan like me on the West Coast, you bring it all together. And I'm just going to expand my border and vision a little bit. Not giving up.
I'll tell you what you're doing, Leland. Thank you for the call. This is what they call the Andrew Perloff. It's a shorthand.
Yeah. You need a safety bandwagon. You can't just be stuck with only your team to root for, especially when Kittle's on the sideline and Nick Bosa gets hurt. You better start looking at, I kind of like that Cardinals offense. Drew Petzing, hot coaching candidate. I totally get Leland.
This violates all rules of family.
Leland, I see you and I feel you, and this is good work by you. Beast, come on, what are you going to do? If Kittle and Bosa are going to play, I mean, what are you going to – and Debo's done. He's out after this year. I totally get what Leland's doing.
Imagine having a team go to the conference championship game, 5 of the last 7 years or whatever, Super Bowl 2
and then rooting for the Cardinals?
And say, I'm going to find another team.
Come on,
and it's the Cardinals.
The Rams.
I haven't been happy in a decade on a Sunday. Come on, Leland.
No, I get it. I like
Manny's
what
a Giants fan. He would give his right finger for that. Maybe not the whole arm.
I know losing Super Bowls suck, but and Maggie would know, unfortunately. But still, man, your team is was just in the Super Bowl.
You know what?
My team hasn't made the playoffs in 15 years.
I know. But you know what? You get used to a certain lifestyle, guys. It's like being in a high-profile divorce. You get accustomed to a certain lifestyle. And when all of a sudden You can't drive the G-Wagon anymore, and you got to drive a Honda like the rest of us. Well, suddenly it doesn't feel so great now, does it?
That was super relatable.
Well, actually, I think what Leland was doing was really smart. He's in California, so he can root for all the California teams. You guys are in New York. You should start rooting for the Bills, the only real New York State team.
Nope, bandwagon closed.
No.
Not allowed.
I'm a Jets fan. I'm not rooting for an AFC East team.
I mean, honestly, EJ, Leland, maybe that is not cool to jump off the Niners bandwagon, but how do you stay on that Jets bandwagon?
Leland should do what I did. Just, okay, your season is in the toilet. Just emotionally detach yourself from the season. It's not happening this year. There'll be plenty of other seasons.
Go numb. Yes, that's exactly what the people on this side of the glass have been doing for the past decade and a half.
What are you guys, Pink Floyd? You're comfortably numb? It doesn't work like that. It's sports. It gets something going inside of you, whether it's good or bad. That's why we're all here.
Oh, it's worked wonders for me this year. This has actually been the most... I can't believe I'm actually getting through this season. If this was last year, I would be just a mess. But fortunately, I said, you know what? I'm not gonna put myself in a situation for being emotionally attached to this team. So Aaron Rodgers gets on the mic, walks to the 50-yard line of MetLife Stadium, and says, "I'm sorry for what happened. I apologize," and I retire as Jets quarterback.
Why doesn't he just resign as QB of the NYJ?
I'll take that too.
Style.
I'll take that too. But you know what? The pain he's suffered and the pain he's given to all Jet fans, he should have to actually get on a mic and explain what has happened.
I haven't watched the Giants in 8 days. This is the happiest I've been in my life.
You're in an extremely good mood.
Giants fans they are really checked out. I mean, they are crazy checked out. I haven't heard Giants fans even talking about the team.
I've been checked out since about 2019.
EJ, Aaron Rodgers is going to torch you next year. He's going to be on another team and he's going to throw for 35 touchdowns. You know why I know that? Because of Brett Favre. The two people, they are on the same exact trajectory, point by point by point. What is making you think he's going to be a year off the Achilles? He is going to be good next year and it will not be in a Jets uniform, and I'm going to laugh.
Nope, not happening. Sorry.
No one's getting that lucky. He's not going anywhere. He's going to be in a Jets uniform next year. 855-212-4227. George is our pal in L.A. Got to be feeling good after a big Rams win over the Pats, George.
Yeah, that was a nice win. We got 3 teams in NFC West, all 5-5, and we can play Perloff's team next Sunday night, Philadelphia Eagles. That should be an interesting game.
It's a big game, too.
Dude, how about that catch by Puka Nacua? Oh, my God, that was amazing.
Yeah, listen, it was good to see them scoring some touchdowns yesterday after what happened against the Miami Dolphins last week, where they could not find the end zone. I mean, maybe using the Patriots as a bit of a get-right game. That
was a great game, actually. I watched a ton of that because Drake May is kind of fascinating. That was a really, really interesting. Well, I think the Patriots are a little better than we think.
No, they definitely are. To make this about the Rams, though, quickly, I think the Rams as good a shot as any in that NFC West. You just talked about it, Perloff, and George, thank you. Arizona Cardinals in first place in this division. Rams now have won, 3 of 4 after starting the season 1-4? And the 49ers are down.
Well, the thing is that the Rams have won, but they've been close games. They don't seem to be able to put any distance between them and anyone. I actually, you know what? I might pick the Cardinals in that division because of James Conner. He's unstoppable.
You know what's weird about the Rams? They do, like yesterday, they don't score in the first quarter and they don't score in the fourth quarter. So that's second and third quarter, but is that like winning football? Anyway, and on the Patriots side of things, I think they are a little bit better than we expected. Drake May is obviously given them something to rally around. He is going to be very good, but they are so conservative. And this is Gerard Mayo, man. He is a defensive coach. You kick a field goal on 4th and 3 from the LA 13. You have a 4th and goal from the 2. You kick a field goal. I mean, woof. They're going to have to start trusting Drake May a little bit more. I get it, he's a rookie, but for this thing to work moving forward, you've got to trust him a little bit more.
But wins and losses really don't mean anything to them right now.
Then get him some experience in these high-pressure, short yardage situations.
Yeah, I don't really see the Patriots the same way. First of all, the Patriots really should not have won that game last night. I thought the Rams kind of controlled it a little bit.
Well, the Rams did win.
Yeah, no, I'm saying that. I don't think Mayo blew the game necessarily. They They fought hard. Wins and losses do not matter. You're exactly right. Drake May's development is the only issue there. So we'll see with the Rams Eagles, by the way. I think you know what? I'm starting to, unlike you, be confident in my team. Actually, like you. Like I look at that match, I'm like, oh, well, they got two great receivers in Nakua and Kupp, but the Eagles have all these cornerbacks. I'm not sure the Rams get out of the West. They're just like, they're winning, but they're thin games, Maggie.
855-212-4227. All right, we're trying to hit everything from yesterday, from Saturday. Got a big Georgia win on Saturday. Oregon escapes. We know we're on in all of these places. We have not forgot about college football. You had the big Tyson-Paul fight on Friday night, and you had John Jones coming away with a big win in the octagon against Stipe Miocic. So lots happening over the weekend. Coming up next, I will give you the top 5 most memorable moments from the Tyson-Paul fight.
All right.
Again, I'm still stuck on only 5.
They were silly. It was a silly evening. Entertaining-ish. Maggie and Perloff.
All right, listen up. 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer, and bladder leaks can be a side effect. That's why Depend is teaming up with the Prostate Cancer Foundation to encourage screening, because health is a long game, and it's yours to win. Now, here's the cool part. Through November, Depend is contributing up to $300,000 to prostate cancer research by donating 40 cents for every purchase of shields, guards, and Real Fit products. Void in Mississippi. Learn more at depend.com.
You're in a 4.5-minute break. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Buddy, you're a boy, make a big noise playing in the street. Gonna be a big man someday. You got mud on your face, you big disgrace. Kicking your can all over the place.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff. Is this for the Tyson fight? Or Manny just feeling it? So, I don't know if we should
for all
talk...
the winners from yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know, Maggie, if we should talk about the Mike Tyson fight. Did anyone watch this thing? Just kidding.
60 million people practically crashed the site.
I thought it was 50 million. Like, that's like Super Bowl numbers. This is crazy. I mean, I didn't even know that many people had Netflix. That is wild. And I think if you didn't watch it live, it's so easy to go back. I went back and watched it. I didn't stay, I'll be honest, I didn't stay up because everyone's at 8 p.m. Eastern for the fight. And then I was like, wait, what time is the real fight starting? After midnight.
Yeah,
so I watched it on replay the next day.
Yeah.
But Maggie, you had some interesting observations about the fight.
Yeah, if you didn't watch it, I got your top 5 most memorable moments from the fight. And it starts right now. All right. Number 5 in the most memorable moments. Now, these are not the best. These are not the greatest. I'm talking about most memorable moments.
You were getting the 5 greatest.
No, there's no 5 greatest. This doesn't exist.
There's 5 anything.
Hey, folks. Number 5, what was the Axe body spray stuff that they kept spraying all over Jake Paul? They did it when he did his ring entrance, which was in a car, down this ramp in Jerry World. And then they did it as soon as the decision was announced. They made sure to just spray him with some kind of body spray.
His brother was doing it, and he knocked his hat off during the post-match thing.
Silly. The whole thing just so silly. Number 4 on my list of most memorable moments from this fight, it was a Charlize Theron, Jamie Foxx movie preview where they basically they're married, they're 2 spies who rediscover their love of espionage and their kids find out. It's
my God, that movie, there's 7 other versions of that movie out right now. Didn't Mark Wahlberg just do that movie?
Mark Wahlberg did it. It was like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but with kids. Like they just basically took 5 different ideas, jumbled it into one movie, and Charlize Theron looked like she would have rather been putting her hand in a garbage disposal than be sitting front row at that thing. Okay. Number 3 of my most memorable moments of the Tyson-Paul fight. Rosie Perez is a boxing commentator, just punching through that glass ceiling. She had one of the memorable lines from the fight, which is questioning why Jake Paul wasn't really trying to finish Mike Tyson, which will launch 1,000 conspiracy theories about what actually happened during this thing. Rosie, she wasn't awesome. She was memorable, though, as a commentator on this fight. And the whole thing was just way over the top. Not Rosie. The play-by-play was way over the top. And Roy Jones, who's actually called a million fights, really needs to be paired with Jim Lampley. It's Lampley or bust.
Oh, no. Morrow was good on the play-by-play.
Nope.
He was at a 15 when the fight only needed a 10.
He was giving his best.
Oh, it sounded like a WWE event. And that's where he came from, right?
He did boxing too, but he did WWE for a short time.
Right, and I know that because he was basically giving us his resume while the fight was going on, which was an odd choice for play-by-play. but it felt big. Number 2, the most memorable moments of the Tyson-Jake Paul fight was the cut over Amanda Serrano's eye that a friend texted and said, well, everything's bigger in Texas. You think? If this is a quote-unquote normal fight and not a crazy circus of an evening, that fight is stopped 10 out of 10 times when a fighter has a cut that big over their eye. The fact they let her continue, it became a Fight of the Year candidate. I don't think she got so robbed from Katie Taylor. It was back and forth. I agree with Andre Ward on this one. It was back and forth. Her eye being cut in that way, though, was gruesome. And the number 1 most memorable moment from the Jake Paul-Mike Tyson fight is the fact that we all got treated to seeing Mike Tyson's bare tush before the fight because of a locker room shot where Tyson's getting interviewed by his son. They have this sort of nice moment, and he gives him a kiss. He says, I love you. And then you see Mike walk away, and it's just he's in the jock strap, and you just get his bare cheeks. And
they're 58 years old.
And someone asked me, they didn't see it, so they said, so what was his tush like? And I said, well, if you put all the tushies in the world next to each other, it's not bad. If you put all the athletes' tushies in the world next to each other, not that great. And just the fact that we got Mike Tyson's butt, we should have never seen that.
Yeah.
The defeat doesn't mean nothing.
Yeah. And that was the internet moment, Mike Tyson's tush.
Can I ask for the woman's perspective? Do you find yourself wanting tush shots? Or tush shots good?
God,
we got Derrick Henry earlier this year. That was fun.
Well, that was during the game.
Yeah.
That was inadvertent. This one felt like it could have been avoided.
Oh, okay. But not on purpose.
No, it wasn't on purpose, but it's just, if you're the cameraman.
Don't zoom in.
No, but you're in the locker room. So, there's a rule when you're in the locker room. Eyes up. Camera up.
Camera up.
And he walks over to the interview. What do you think he's wearing?
That's on the TD. I'm not putting that on the cameraman.
The technical director.
Yeah, he can't. What is he going to do? Just put the camera up to the ceiling as soon as Tyson walks away?
How about a tighter shot on his face? I don't know. It's everyone. It's the TD. It's the camera. We got Mike Tyson's butt.
At least it wasn't frontal.
Fair.
Can I ask a question?
Way to come in through with the silver lining.
The one thing you mentioned, Rosie Perez, and conspiracy theories. Does this fight even raise the level of conspiracy theory? I mean, Definitely. I know you're a fan. Why would you even bother doing it? I mean, conspiracy theory means like something that is hidden that appears one way is not another. Like, I don't even know if this fight being possibly fixed is like, of course it's a conspiracy. It's Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. It's not like Ali listed. Wait, you're going to have like your A investigative team, like maybe something fishy was going on here? Like, that's
Jeremy
a waste
Schaff.
of energy. Yes. Yeah, I don't know if you're sending in Don Van Natta to break down this fight.
Yeah. Wait, we don't get an E60 exclusive on this one?
Like,
all right.
Conspiracy implies, right, that it's at least trying to be normal. And this says this fight was kind of bizarre. Was it more entertainment or was it more sporting in a sense? It felt more like entertainment.
Yeah.
It was neither.
Well, no, attempted.
When the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders came out, what did you think? I
see a little bit differently than I think you do, Bogus. Like, Jake Paul, I know that the gloves were a little bigger or whatever. He took some real punches from Mike Tyson. Like, I give that guy a little bit of credit. Like, I think if Mike Tyson even like looked at me the wrong way, I would be out for the count. But he did take a punch from Mike Tyson. It looked like some real punches. At least some.
Did he land Tyson 18 total? I mean, not that I would survive any of the 18, but I'm also not Jake Paul. Like, he's supposed to be able to take a punch from a 58. I don't care. I understand it's Mike Tyson, but it's 58-year-old Mike Tyson, and he looked like he was 108 in the ring on Saturday.
But he still has the big arms. He still has the George Foreman big arms. Like, I don't know.
No, it made me feel so gross watching it.
I didn't feel gross watching it. I felt like it was bizarre. It was just bizarre. There should have been way more action, but Tyson's legs left him in like the third round. But Paul looked huge, by the way, too. They said he put on what, like 25 pounds for that fight?
They definitely didn't steroid check in this fight.
Whoa,
Asada was nowhere to be found.
EJ.
Some big
We don't
allegations there,
throw
buddy.
out allegations like that on this show.
Except for Perloff.
Yeah,
Every
only in
week.
baseball. No, I try to keep those off air.
Only when he's watching every baseball player. No,
Yeah.
It was just odd. It was just odd, but you know what? If you just looked at it as kind of a circus, it delivered on that. And to be honest, the Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor, that should be a pay-per-view. That should be a trilogy. Those two ladies should fight again, and I bet a lot of people would watch.
I don't know if this delivered on even entertainment. This was boring. I mean, thank goodness I was at the Knick game and caught the last 3 rounds and didn't have to watch all 8 rounds of this nonsense. I found this extremely boring, and I started to wonder, like, is this kind of the end of the Jake Paul train? Like, is the con over? Because so many people were so angry at this. Like, I didn't get this is fun. People were upset at Netflix. People were upset at the fight. People were upset at Tyson for not being better, even though he's 58 years old. I don't know what you expected. People were upset at Jake Paul for not, like, actually just knocking out Mike Tyson when clearly he could have. Like, I don't think anybody left this happy.
No, but I don't think it means that Jake Paul's con is over. In fact, I think he gains more credibility. The Tyson part of this, I think, is interesting because I think there were a lot of maybe dads or, wanted to show their sons like, hey, this is the guy who was the baddest man on the planet. And I don't know if the sons would have picked up on that. If the next generation, they couldn't have known. Like, you wouldn't have gotten the Mike Tyson experience from that.
It does speak to Mike Tyson's mystique that, like, there was even a thought that he could turn back the clock and knock this guy out.
And then we saw his butt, and the mystique was gone. Bogish has headlines
My
for
Netflix
us.
is still buffering, actually.
Bogish has headlines for us. What happened in football?
I don't know. These headlines are sponsored by Prize Picks. Football season's here, and Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. Download Prize Picks, use code M&P, and get a $50 credit instantly when you play $5. Must be present in certain states where it's lawful to wager. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
I like a tight ass.
Reports overnight seem to confirm that Bills Mafia behaved themselves on their treadmills yesterday.
Can he do it? Is he gonna do it? Yeah, finally!
Finally, Josh Allen did it yesterday, throwing 1 touchdown and running for the clincher on 4th down with just over 2 minutes to go. The Bills a 30-21 win over the Chiefs in Buffalo, extending their win streak to 6 and ending KC's perfect season. Patrick Mahomes will not lose sleep over a November loss.
Nothing to hang your head on. I'm losing to them, but we feel like we can play better. So we'll get back to work and try to use this as a spark so that we can be a better football team in the end. And the undefeated thing was cool, but that's not our ultimate goal. So we'll keep building towards that.
Mahomes picked off twice yesterday, the second ending the Chiefs' chances following that Allen TD run. So again, it was loss number 1 for the Chiefs, loss number 7 for the Bengals last night.
Hand off to Dobbins. And there goes Dobbins on his horse to the 20, to the 15, to the 10, into the end zone. Touchdown, Chargers.
That is Matt Money Smith on Chargers Radio. Dobbins' 29-yard run with 18 seconds left got the Chargers a 34-27 win on Sunday Night Football. After the Bengals erased completely a 27-6 third quarter hole. Joe Burrow, 356 yards and 3 scores, but his team is 4-7.
We are where we're at. I'm not happy with where we're at. I don't think anybody is, but all you can do is come back tomorrow and try to get better.
And maybe kill your kicker.
Hey, question.
Yeah, please.
Should J.K. Dobbins have run that in? What do the analytics say? I mean, obviously, I think technically he should have gone down to the 1, but then the Bengals guy pushed him in, so I'm not sure he could have gone down at the 1 anyway.
And he said that he asked the sideline, and the sideline said score. But I mean,
yeah, but it was his running back coach. I don't know if he got it from the head coach, his running back coach, and he didn't just say score. He cursed and said,
"Right,
bleep and go for it." Like that might have been just some dude.
And they seem to be overlooking the fact that the Bengals were like inches away from a Hail Mary to tie the game. Like, they flirted with disaster by him scoring.
But kickers are so scary right now. I think they were scared of their kicker. But technically, I think he should have gone down. Although at the end, he's had too much momentum. I don't think he could have if he wanted to.
The Bengals with this loss, they're 2 games away from the last wild card spot. There are 2 teams in between them. The Chargers, meanwhile, are 7-3 for the first time since 2018. The Packers winning in Chicago 2019 because Carl Brooks, good to see you, Carl, blocked a Cairo Santos field goal on the final play of the game. The Rams got a 28-22 win in New England, and the Vikings down the Titans 23-13 in Nashville. Sam Darnold threw for 2 scores, ran for another. 8-2 Minnesota remains a game behind the Lions in the NFC North. James Harden, now number 2 all-time in threes, passing Ray Allen in the second quarter of the Clippers' 116-105 win over the Jazz.
We love you, James.
The Cavaliers took care of the Hornets 128-114 to become the 4th team ever to start a season 15-0. Before that game, Charlotte guard LaMelo Ball fined $100,000 for using an anti-gay slur during a post-game interview on Saturday night. The real rankings are tomorrow night, but a good start for Georgia football. They're back in the AP top 10 at number 8 after beating Tennessee Saturday. Oregon, again, the unanimous number 1 on this list. Alex Ovechkin scored 3 times in the Capitals' 5-2 win in Vegas. He now needs just 29 goals to pass Wayne Gretzky for the most all time. And Leafs winger Ryan Reeves suspended 5 games for Saturday's illegal headshot on Edmonton defenseman Darnell Nurse. Guys, back to you.
Bogus, thank you. I'm being corrected in the chat, youtube.com/InfinitySportsNet, twitch.tv/InfinitySportsNetwork. When I gave my top 5 most memorable moments of the Tyson-Paul fight, I said Charlize Theron was in that movie trailer of the movie I'm not going to watch with Jamie Foxx. It's Cameron Diaz. My apologies.
Oh, but Charlize Theron was at the fight.
She was front row.
Right.
But the movie trailer
listen.
was Cameron Diaz.
And Tom Hanks
Yes,
in Forrest Gump
That
3.
being said,
Forrest Gump 5.
You could have easily had that Jamie Foxx, Charlize Theron movie greenlit anywhere in Hollywood.
Well, it's the same movie, just wrong, different actors. Wow.
So sorry about that. And thank you to Pat, who was in the chat, to remind me that I was wrong about it. But Charlize Theron was front row, looking not nonplussed.
How much did they pay for her to be there?
You know, I didn't recognize a lot of the celebrities there that weren't athletes.
Shaq obviously took up a lot of oxygen. Who is some of the other actors there? I mean, you probably, EJ, you might know them. Maybe they were kind of Marvel.
I only saw Trish Stratus and Lita were there. Not Lita, my dog. Lita, the wrestler.
No, because I think that if you were Marvel, you're not showing up to a Netflix event.
Oh,
That's
so
all Disney Plus.
It was all Netflix people. Got
Yeah.
it. I mean, most Netflix movies are like some like 90s like sitcom show is at Christmas and is going home from and she hasn't been home in 20 years and she meets a guy and looks like it was shot on an iPhone and it gets like 60 million viewers. You guys know what I'm talking about, the Christmas Netflix movies.
I'll be honest, this list of celebrities is kind of Hot Tour Girl was there. I saw her.
Yeah.
Haley Welsh.
Unfortunately.
This list is sad, just like the fight.
Who?
I mean, there are a lot of like athletes, Rob Gronkowski, Shaq, all those people, but then like the actual actors like Joe Manganiello.
Love that guy. Big Steelers
cool.
fan, right?
Yeah. Josh Duhamel, whatever.
Josh Duhamel is the man. Big Vikings fan, actually.
Simu Liu. I like Simu Liu. Tori Kelly, Daddy Yankee, Ralph Macchio.
Oh, yeah, Ralph Macchio. And Bill Zabka was there, too.
Really, y'all really
Netflix
digging these people?
Oh, yeah.
Well, Ralph Macchio for our childhood.
No, I know. I mean, Cedric Entertainer, I don't know.
He was on set.
It feels very B-list. Besides Charlize, this is very B-list to me.
Tori Kelly is star of Sing. She's a big deal in my house. So I don't know about that.
It's just usually some of the people who are sitting front row at a fight night. Leonardo DiCaprio.
Right.
Jack
But this is,
Nicholson.
you guys know it's Jake Paul versus a 58-year-old Mike Tyson, right?
Yeah.
We're all aware of this. It's not fight night. It wasn't Ali Frazier.
Squid Game people were here. Mr. Beast was there.
Oh, that's pretty good.
We'll get back to the football in just a moment, including this could have been an all-time bad week for one NFL team. And that's saying something. We'll get to it next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining.
The land of the brave, where freedom reigns and legends pave. But in that locker room, my heart did pause at the sight of Tyson and his droopy cause. From amber waves to a heavyweight fight, you gave us his cheeks, a peculiar sight, a monument to time, to battles in class. Oh, the glory of Mike Tyson's droopy ass. America, your beauty's vast, from the Rockies high to Tyson's past. Before Paul could even amass, there stood the champ with his droopy ass. He stood like a titan, his fists wrapped tight, but it wasn't his punches that stole the night. Under the glow of the fluorescent glare, his sagging caboose beyond compare. It's not just a rear, it's a national tale of triumph, of grit, of never fail. From pigeons to punches, his story amassed, and yes, it includes that droopy ass. America, your beauty's vast, from the Rockies high to Tyson's past. Before Paul could even amass, there stood the champ with his droopy ass. Oh, the locker room is where dreams unfold, but Tyson's behind is a sight so bold. A canvas of time, a warrior's brand, etched by the years, by life's steady hand. So here's to you, America fair, for moments like this, beyond compare. Let history write, let memories amass, and never forget Mike Tyson's droopy ass. Oh, the locker room is where dreams unfold. Tyson's
Sunday, they were in line to beat their. Oh shoot! I'm sorry. I have a TK in here.
I'm a warrior's brand, and yes, it includes beyond compares. Oh, the locker room is where dreams unfold, but Tyson's behind is a sight so bold. A canvas of time, a warrior's brand, etched by the years, by life's steady hands. Oh, the locker room is where dreams unfold, but Tyson's behind is a sight so bold. A canvas of time, a warrior's brand, etched by the years, by life's steady hand.
"15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Rough week for the Bears. Welcome back to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. You remember they fired their offensive coordinator on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Everyone's embattled. Everyone's feeling the pressure in the building, obviously. So what happens? They're just lined up to finally beat their rival, if you can even call it that, beat their rival Green Bay Packers for the first time since 2018. I mean, it's just been utter domination of the Packers over the Bears. They settle for, what was it, a 41 or 42-yard field goal? It gets blocked. Just the Bears can't have nice things. And the irony of the whole part, or maybe not irony, the saddest part of it from the Bears' perspective is that you had Caleb Williams made 3 of the nicest throws that he's probably made all season long on that final drive.
Yeah.
2 to Odunze and then another one to Keenan Allen. And to just get it blocked. Can we listen to what that sounded like, Mandy? Here are the Packers coming up with the game-winning block on Cairo Santos.
Here's the snap, placement made. The kick is blocked. It is blocked. It is blocked. And the Packers have won. Beautiful. It is blocked. Beautiful. It comes up short, and the Packers have won 11 straight over the Bears, 20-19.
Okay.
Wayne Larrivee, Packers Radio.
This feels bad. It feels tough, but I do think there has to be a little relief.
From who?
The Bears fans like, oh, phew, Caleb Williams isn't awful. That is, he looked really good, especially in that fourth quarter drive you mentioned.
Yeah.
Because it was looking bad the last three. I don't know how many games he's been bad in a row, but this was a very encouraging sign from him because there was a thought, oh my God, wait, is this guy going to be a bust? I think you walked away from that game feeling like, okay, yeah, we blew the game, but we have a guy.
I never thought he was going to be a bust, but you were reminded a little bit yesterday of still some of the magic that he has when he's able to scramble around and make plays with his legs, which I don't think they wanted to do with their last coordinator.
Yeah, I mean, because they also don't really want him to get hurt. I mean, he ran 9 times yesterday. He does not look like a quarterback who's going to successfully run 9 times.
No, but they're going to need him to pick up first downs with his legs. Like, that's just the bottom line of it.
Yeah.
And, want to know what I came away, because this was not also an amazing game for the Packers. 2 turnovers in the red zone, which, or else they really could have put this thing away. Jordan Love clearly still compromised. I want both of these offenses to be a lot better. That's kind of what I came away with. I want the Packers offense to be better. It feels like it should be better,
Yeah, but the Packers, I'll say something positive about them. They're 7-3 and playing like crap. That's a good thing. Remember they turned it on last year? They were terrible the first half of last season. Yep. Then they turned it on. It feels like there's a switch somewhere that they're still looking for that can be turned on. I mean, at least I think, like, honestly, I would not discount the Packers as not being a factor in this playoff.
I just want them to be playing better than they are, just on offense. The defense was playing very well. It's just there's a little something like that's just missing, and maybe it's because Jordan Love is obviously dealing with the knee issue going back to that game in Brazil, but then the groin issue as well. Yeah, EJ, you look like you want to say something.
Yeah, I just feel like when I watch the Packers, this does not look like a team that looks scary to the Lions, right? Like the Lions are going in and they're just punching people in the face and walking out. And they could throw 5 interceptions and still beat playoff caliber teams. It feels like the Packers are struggling against even like marginal teams like the Bears, the Jaguars. They struggled with the Texans, even though the Texans had like 90 yards of passing. Like it's something's off clearly. And the hope is that because we still have like a month plus to go, that maybe they'll peak at the right time.
Yeah.
But they don't look close to the team that's going to be capable of trying to beat the Lions and get to the championships, the Super Bowl.
I mean, to be honest, though, besides Perloff's Eagles, does anyone look like they could hang with the Lions right now?
Yeah, I totally know what you guys are saying. Remember that? So they played earlier. It was bad weather, and they contained the Lions in that game. I think that there's a chance that things change in the playoffs. Remember, there's a whole. How many games are left? There's a whole half season left ahead of us. And just like last year, like teams evolve come January. So
but if Jordan Love is compromised, depending, on how these injuries, like this was them coming off the bye week. You would think this is, him rested, definitely, maybe feeling a little bit better, but he's not running, and you can tell why.
Yeah, but maybe in 8 weeks he will be.
Possible.
This was a Bears team, remember, that got smoked by the Patriots. And essentially, it was all hell breaking loose. Some players want Caleb Williams benched. The coaches extremely embattled. And maybe this is their kind of last stand effort, and maybe we should give them credit for that. But you would think a team like the Packers, who we expect to be a Super Bowl contender, you think they'd walk in there, beat them by 15 points, and just move on and put them to bed. Like the fact that we're going here saying, hey, you know what, that Caleb Williams wasn't so bad. Like I think that's somewhat of a thing for the Packers. You say we still are not quite there yet.
I think Maggie nailed though. If Caleb Williams doesn't run like crazy, though, none of that's happening. I mean, he was keeping him in the game with his legs. So
that has to be their offense, I think.
But that's something that you can't plan for a mobile quarterback. There's just nothing you can really do about that. That's my opinion. Like honestly, Caleb just like kind of sold out for that game.
Can I make this about me for a second? All time bad beat. All time. Oh.
What do you mean?
I had the Bears-Packers over 40.5. It's stuck at 39 after the Packers score. They go for 2, don't get it, and then the field goal gets blocked.
There's nobody
Just
gets
a brutal one for your girl.
No one gets the 2 point. You couldn't have
No
counted
one
on
gets
that.
a 2-point conversion anymore. Those don't exist. It's like kickers can no longer kick 50-yarders. That was early in the season, not anymore. And nobody can convert a 2-point conversion.
I don't know if kickers can kick 30-yarders anymore. There is a panic setting around the league.
Extra points are really giving people trouble.
Maybe that's what's screwing it up. There's something wrong with kickers. We got to get to the bottom of it. I have some conspiracy theories.
Better conspiracy than the Mike Tyson-Jake Paul fight?
Let's say, can you share them with the class?
Well,
Can you
just
share
a-
with the kickers?
Justin Tucker is the hive mind, and if once he falters, he controls every other kicker. It's sci-fi. I'm developing the script.
We'll get to Justin Tucker, the Ravens, the Steelers. We'll do that next. It was a tough week for the Chicago Bears. The team fired their offensive coordinator on Tuesday. On Sunday,
Fluorescent glare. Oh, glorious splat. 4 years in the stream. Through the chaos and laughter, the wildest dream. You've seen Miraz stumble, you've seen Miraz fall. Droopy man boobs and chicken wings, he's done it all. From poops in his pants to wings in his throat, every moment's a story, every mishap a note. But as the Twitch chat roared, one truth was clear: the biggest absence beat up a lot, he ain't here. From poops in his pants to wings in his throat, every moment's a story, every mishap a note. But as the Twitch chat roared, one truth was clear: the biggest absence beat up a lot, he ain't here. 4 years of sun through highs and lows, from mismatches to disasters to the chaos that grows. But through all the madness, let's be sincere: where in the world is Peter Believe this year? The chair sits empty, the mic collects dust, while Miraz chokes on chicken. We've lost our trust. 4 years of loyalty, of sticking around, yet Belotti's nowhere, he can't be found. Oh, glorious splat, you've seen it all. The Twitch chat erupt, the rise and the fall. But no truth or disaster can quite compare to Belotti's track record of never being there. 4 years of sun through highs and lows, from mishaps and disasters to the chaos that grows. But through all the madness, let's be sincere: where in the world is Peter Belotti this year? Was it the traffic? Was it the train? Was it the weather or a phantom fall? But no truth or disaster can quite compare to Belotti's track record of never being there. Was it the traffic? Was it the train? Was it the weather or a phantom pain? Excuses abound, but the truth is bare: Peter just doesn't bother to be there. So here's to you, a glorious splat, for enduring the chaos and sticking with that. But let's make one thing perfectly clear: Peter Belotti's ghost is the MVP here. Peter Belotti this year.
One minute, 30 seconds remaining.
Oh, yo. L.O. Man.
1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Snap, Lamar moving out to the left. Lamar being strung out, and Lamar flings it backhand incomplete, and the Steelers defense has come up with a stop.
You know what that was? That was the second of the takeaways of Lamar. I don't know what Lamar was doing there.
Yeah, that one wasn't even close.
No.
Thank you, Steelers Radio. And the Steelers come away with a win over the Ravens. Stop me if you've heard that one before. But honestly, Perloff, there's two ways to look at this. The Ravens have got to clean things up if they really want to be a Super Bowl contender. The special teams was awful yesterday. Justin Tucker missing kicks, 47 yards, 50 yards. Those used to be automatic for him. The special teams just bad. That 2-point conversion never had a prayer. And the bad penalties for the Ravens. You know, you'd like to say they deserve to win that game, and if it was not for the Tucker kicks, but I'm not sure they would have. This has been a team that's been penalized a lot throughout this season. They are not disciplined when it comes to the details.
Yeah, I'm not viewing it that way at all. I view it as they always lose this game in the exact same fashion to Mike Tomlin and the Steelers. Always. They've had 8 straight games under 20 points. They cannot score against his team. He's figured out when he does play Lamar how to box him in. And I'm not panicking at all if I'm Baltimore, because this happens in divisional. You've seen it with your own team, the Bills. Like, certain teams just have your number. I mean, this is clearly that case. Last year, they lost same game, 17-10 to Pittsburgh, and went on to win 12 of their next 13 games. So you have no reason to panic if you're 11 of your next 12. Like, this happens every year, and you're fine against everybody else. You just cannot beat Mike Tomlin. So honestly, there's no takeaway for me. I know that sounds like a total cop-out, which you think I do all the time. Like, do not worry about this game. Yeah, you're 7-4. It's not ideal. But I still think the Ravens are going to be really good against every other team in the league, just not the Steelers.
Well, it's not that there's nothing here, because the Steelers now are in first place in this division, and it's like a 3-way battle between the Bills, the Chiefs, and whoever in the AFC North to try to get home field advantage all the way through.
I don't mind if I'm the Ravens, if I'm coming in as a wild card this year, because they were the strong favorite last year, number 1 seed, and totally no-showed against KC. It doesn't, honestly, like, the formula of gaining momentum at the end might not be terrible for them.
On the Steelers side of this, they've now won 5 in a row. They're 8-2. And guys, whether you like it or not, the Steelers are a Super Bowl contender. That's it. Period. Full stop. The defense has always been good enough. And if TJ Watt is healthy and if the defense keeps playing like this, then they are elite. And I'll give you another reason why I think the Steelers are a Super Bowl contender. They're starting to figure something out here with finding packages for Justin Fields. Now, Russell Wilson can get him almost all the way there, right? Russell Wilson with the moon balls to Pickens has been a revelation. He can throw that deep ball, and with Pickens, they've been super dangerous with that. The problem with Wilson has been in the red zone. The red zone has been tough. Now, they can run the ball well, the Steelers, but Justin Fields coming in to show a different look where he can use his legs, or maybe, I don't know if they even want him throwing any passes, but he can come in and use his legs, Perloff. The more they incorporate that, the more it gives other teams something to think about, and we're just scratching the surface on what that could possibly be. The Steelers are a Super Bowl contender.
Boy, you better knuckle up.
I feel like they were so similar to last year's team. where they win a bunch of close games against average teams and beat the Ravens. And that's last year they were 7-4 at this time. Then they proceeded to lose games at home to Arizona and I think Chicago. It's like two bottom rung teams. I just think they're winning really, really thin games and kind of like they have over the last 3 years where it's all defense and sort of some Tomlin magic. I do not think they have the firepower to be a real contender in the AFC. When you're talking about the Bills, you're talking about the Chiefs, the Ravens do have this firepower, not against the Steelers, but against everybody else. I do not see them as a real Super Bowl threat. I see them as a team that we've seen the last 6 years, which is good enough to make the playoffs, not good enough to do anything there.
See, I don't, because last year I think there was a lot of turmoil. First of all, they had to fire the offense coordinator midway through the season.
Yeah.
And you really didn't have a quarterback because Kenny Pickett couldn't be that guy, and you end up having to go to Mason Rudolph. Now you do have a quarterback. Now, are these guys perfect? No. They're a little bit flawed, but they can fit together, I think, in a way where one guy can cover up for another guy's deficiencies and vice versa. You got Justin Fields, who's not really great in the middle of the field, and then you've got Russell Wilson, who's great in the middle of the field, but not so great in the red zone. You do this the right way, I think you're going to have a lot of teams on their heels, and pairing that again with a good defense. Now, the one thing that's going to be the toughest part of this for the Steelers is they're one of those teams that's got to play the 3 games in 10 days things, where you've got a game on the December 15th, then December 21st, then December 25th. And to play at the Ravens on the 21st, then turn around and host the Chiefs 4 days later is going to be tough. But the Chiefs will also have been playing this crazy schedule. So this back end of the schedule for the Steelers is rough.
But they got 2 Browns games. That's
true.
That's very good. And I think
next week.
And the Bengals might just sort of mail it in too. The schedule actually works out pretty well because the early season Browns you probably wouldn't have wanted to see if you're the Steelers, but this team is done, and they're not even trying anymore. So I think that they have a lot of W's here. But I don't care. They could go 13-4, and they're still not terrifying me because honestly, is that offense scaring anybody? Is Russell Wilson? You say they have a quarterback, and I love Russ as a legacy guy, but honestly, he's not. I wouldn't say he's a top 15 quarterback right now.
No, but they're again. I think it's the combination of both guys. This was the first time we saw that really, where you saw Justin Fields come in for a couple packages, just a couple plays, and it ended up working out quite nicely.
I mean, you're talking real conservative, like what you might get a 7-yard run out of Justin Fields.
Okay, but this was going up. Now I know the Ravens' defense isn't amazing, but it's not like you were playing the Panthers yesterday and you got to mess around and just this was a division win to keep them atop the division. This is the second best start they've been off to under Mike Tomlin's entire tenure with the Steelers. Now the final 4 games for Pittsburgh: at the Eagles, at the Ravens, Chiefs, Bengals. That's a gauntlet. We'll see if the Bengals are actually playing for anything at that point. But
yeah, and also, too, I don't know if what the Chiefs are really... They could win all those games, but they're going to win like 19-17.
Who cares?
Because come playoff time, we've seen this with Tomlin. We saw it like every year he does this. He gets to above 500 by winning all these narrow games, and then every year they do nothing in the playoffs.
Okay, but you have Mason Rudolph going to Buffalo last year in a playoff game. You are bringing a knife to a gunfight. You go in with Russell Wilson, it's a different story.
I think you just Spider-Man meme 2 quarterbacks.
No, there's definitely a better connection so far. We've
Russ
seen it.
averaging
Russ has
230
unlocked
yards.
George Pickens.
I bet you if you pull up Mason Rudolph's stats from last year against Russell Wilson's stats, that is a Spider-Man meme. I'm guaranteed they're almost identical. Get the research team on this.
All right, you guys.
And also too, like come playoffs, like you're going to double team George Pickens, and then what's Russ going to do?
It's put up and shut up time.
I think this team's a contender, and nobody wants to give them any kind of due. It's like, what does it have to be? They're off to an 8-2 start.
They're getting
this means nothing to anybody.
So the Chiefs, I'm looking at the odds right now. The Chiefs are the favorite, then the Bills, then the Ravens, then the Steelers are actually 4th. I would have thought maybe the Chargers would jump them at this point. That would be, I'd give advantage to Chargers Steelers. I would give a slight advantage to the way the Chargers are playing. It's kind of a coin toss.
Yeah, we will get
there.
Yeah,
it depends where the game is. You're right. If Pittsburgh can win out and get home field, that's a big deal.
And obviously the Chargers last night end up really escaping a game that they lose like 99 times out of 100, or generally 100 times out of 100, because it's called chargering. They gave up an 18-point lead, allowed the Bengals to score 21 straight points in that game, but still hung on to win. A very different ending than we're used to the Chargers. Sean is in Oregon, wants to talk about the Steelers. Good morning, Sean.
Hey, good morning, you guys. You can't diss kickers in the NFL and then not bring up the best kicker in the Steelers. And we got rocket power. That's rocket leg Roswell, brother.
He's the only one who can hit a field goal these days.
The Steelers are not scared. And in fact, Steelers fans are gaining so much confidence. By the end of this year, we'll have the best defense in the league, and this team is not scared. And what Russell Wilson needs to do is quit having flashbacks of throwing that interception in the Super Bowl when he gets to the red zone, because that's what's going on with him.
Yeah, he threw that bad interception. What was it, 3rd and 5? I mean, just really, really bad in the red zone. Hey, Sean, can I get the temperature of people in Oregon for a second? Dan Lanning.
Of the Ducks?
Dan Lanning goes for the fake field goal. What were you thinking?
I was thinking, no bueno. No bueno. I'm glad they won that game because that ain't good. And then when you got a tight game, look at Tomlin. When he went for a 4th down, no bueno. Midfield on a tight game, no bueno. And you know what I'm thinking is, if something happens to Dan Lanning and maybe he goes to one of these NFL teams, maybe Deion Sanders makes the next jump, comes to Oregon. I mean, could you imagine Deion Sanders with the glitz and glamour Oregon Ducks football uniforms?
I don't know.
Think about that, brother.
Sean, I think that might be a pipe dream. Don't you think Deion?
But Deion is a Nike guy, right? Or is
I go big.
Yeah.
When I call shots, I don't go for these little shots, man. I go big. Go big or go home. Have a great day, you guys.
Sean, you too.
Totally in play. Is he Nike or Adidas?
Nike.
So, yeah, I think Deion certainly would be talked about with Oregon.
Yeah, do you think Dan Lanning's about to make the jump this year, though? We begged him
Well,
not
that
to
was the
leave.
story last week. Yeah, I mean, you know what strikes me about that Oregon-Wisconsin game? There's so much parity in college football right now. Like, it ain't like it used to be with, like, Nebraska beating everybody. Like, anybody could beat anybody. With the new conference realignment, you and I we'll discuss that actual call by Dan Lanning to do the fake field goal later on.
Yeah, just thank you, Mateo Uyunglele, who came up and picked that thing.
Yeah.
I got tipped off of the out of the night sky.
He's a tight end recruit. People might not remember that. He was supposed to play both ways. In fact, I think he still could. That guy is so good.
Clearly, he's got good hands. He's playing on the defensive line now.
Yeah.
I understand we have some breaking news. EJ, lay it on us.
Okay, so the New York Giants have decided to bench Daniel Jones, and it is now expected that Tommy DeVito will be the new starting quarterback for the New York Giants.
Whoa, they're passing over Drew Lock to go straight
Just
to Cutlets?
skip right over Drew Lock to get to Tommy Cutlets.
Whoa. What, do they listen to the fan?
Wait, I thought there was a report that the Giants, I thought last week, at the end of last week, I read that the Giants don't care about the injury concern and they're going to play Daniel Jones anyway.
That was a lie, clearly.
Who reported that? I thought it was Rap Sheet or somebody big. I'll double check that.
No, listen, the reason why Daniel Jones would get benched, and this is like pseudo breaking news, is because he's got an injury guarantee for next season that would kick in. I think it's like $25 million. So if he gets hurt, you owe him all this money. Or you can not get hurt, not owe him any money.
Okay.
And you can get out of this thing scot-free and start over again with another quarterback. Manny, you're the Giants fan here. Why are they going to Tommy DeVito and not going to Drew Lock?
Oh, because they don't want to win. Simple as that.
So the tank's on.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Smart.
I mean, yeah, regardless, whoever you throw in at quarterback for the New York Football Giants, it's going to be tank season.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter what jersey number you're wearing. Doesn't matter what your last name is. That's just what the talent in the quarterback room is right now for the Giants. But I think, also, I am a little shocked that it's not Drew Lock, but I guess maybe they're going with DeVito because of the New Jersey storyline. I really don't know why they would go with Tommy DeVito over Drew Lock.
No, it's to lose games. I mean, that's the smartest.
That has to be
That's the smartest answer I've heard.
I think DeVito's pretty close to Lock. DeVito wasn't bad. Didn't he win a couple games?
Let's hang a banner then.
Last week, Joe Shane said it's going to be purely a football decision. I think people ran with that and said, oh, my God, he's going to throw Daniel Jones back out there because he said it's not about the injury issue, which it obviously was. I'm excited. I couldn't watch Drew Lock. I can watch Tommy DeVito. And the agent guy, that's something.
That makes one of us, and you're not even the Giants fan. I can't wait to put on Fox every 1 o'clock on Sundays, and by 1:05 be absolutely checked out watching Red Zone.
Well, listen, if it all careens towards the number 1 overall pick, then you'll be happy about that. Now, it's going to be a race to the bottom. You're going to have a lot of competition here for number 1.
The The Giants have like the 5th overall pick. If the season ended right now, they have the 5th overall pick or 6th overall pick, and they would still lose out on one of the top 3 quarterbacks. It's not exactly the best quarterback class out there either.
Well, that's true, but maybe Shedeur Sanders. I mean, you got Deion out there who's saying he's going to have a say in where his son is going to play, and Travis Hunter. Maybe Deion pulls an Archie Manning, and he tries to funnel Shedeur right to you. Malik Neighbors, you got some dudes on defense. Everyone likes Daboll as a quarterback developer.
I think you might have to get the number 1 pick for Shedeur.
Yeah, I think so too.
Isn't that the move? Isn't that what you just did right here? I mean,
Yeah,
Daniel Jones will lose you games, but you don't want to pay him.
Do you realize how hard everybody else is tanking too? Like, you really have to be creative.
Yeah,
to
the
lose.
Jacksonville Jaguars are still alive.
Yeah, but they have a quarterback.
That's the weird thing about the standings, that there are teams who really stink who probably won't draft a quarterback. So it's about really getting ahead of the Browns and the Raiders. Those are teams.
Oh, yeah, the Titans are ahead of them too.
Yeah.
Got to watch out for those New York Jets as well.
Yeah, the Jets aren't going to. And
Jets are a sneaky team too, yeah.
I don't know how many W's the Panthers got on their schedule. You're right. The Giants have to be careful. But Tommy DeVito's stats are not bad last year. They're better than Drew Lock's.
There are 4 teams that are 2-8. It is
Hello, NFL.
It is crazy.
Yeah, I've got Tankathon up. So if the breaking news that Daniel Jones is getting benched, so this means Tank is officially on for the Giants, although you can't really tell anymore with them just playing versus tanking.
It's been on for about 7 years.
Jacksonville in line to get yet another number 1 overall pick, but they don't need a quarterback. Tennessee would be 2, Cleveland 3, the Raiders 4, and the Giants 5.
Well, there you went, all your 3 quarterbacks right there.
The Browns and the Raiders are really putting in effort to get that pick.
Well, you just got to try harder, Manny. Who else can you put on IR? Anyone? Sexy Dexy? Dexter Lawrence?
No, please. He's the only one that provides me any type of joy.
Yeah, but you know what? That's short term. You're thinking, you got to think long here.
I think DeVito's better than Daniel Jones right now. Daniel Jones lost his confidence. He cannot hit an open guy. I mean, he's 8 feet wide on passes. It's
He's
bizarre.
not good.
I honestly think DeVito will probably win 2 games just for the community.
And let's go get that number 8 overall pick, baby. Woo! Thank you, Tommy Cutlets.
I can't believe his agent's now going to be back in our lives, too. That guy looks like he's wearing a costume.
It's great.
EJ, you mentioned how many 2, that there's 5 teams that only have 2 wins. I mean, expanded out, there's 9 teams that only have 2 or 3. And one of them plays tonight, the Dallas Cowboys.
No. Cowboys could get real serious about losing, but they can't really draft a quarterback. Can they?
No. You just gave Dak
Well, if
all that
Deion's our
money.
coach next year.
I don't know. Diana Rossini said she made some calls around the league and no decision maker has shown any interest in Deion to the NFL. I think that's because Deion keeps saying, I don't want to coach in the NFL.
I don't know. Michael Irvin said over the weekend he has a 9-point bullet plan to get Deion.
Do you believe that?
Man, the last time that Michael Irvin had a 9-point plan.
Who knows why that ended up?
Well, we got a police reporter, too. 855-212-4227. I know, Manny. You're too young for this. You think every history started in the year 2000.
Yeah.
Michael Irvin would love you to think that.
Listen, history didn't begin until the Giants lost to the Ravens in that Super Bowl. That's when history began.
Yes, Michael Irvin would love that. If you only thought that's when history began.
You think Michael Irvin's going away? Forget that. I mean, listen, he'll get 7 more shots in major media jobs.
We're never going to lose those receipts.
I mean, he's
Or
on the
recipes.
sideline for every Miami game this season.
Oh, my God, I know.
He's on all 4s.
He feels like he's calling plays for Miami. Like he goes and consults with Cam Ward after every drive. What's going on there?
It's weird. And he's been wearing the same shirt every week. Now, for
and the
a
hair
while,
is the hair is going crazy, too.
I know. We kind of have the same thing going. For a while, I thought this was a good luck thing, maybe. Because that image of him on those all 4s was him wearing that weird long sleeve shirt. And he's worn that shirt whether it's been 95 degrees in Miami or we're playing in cold weather. He's been wearing that same shirt. So I don't know if that's a good luck thing happening.
Cold weather, 75 degrees and sunny.
Yeah, well, was he wearing it when the Hurricanes lost?
Yes, he was.
Okay, well, that shirt's got to go.
I'm hoping he changes the shirt. By the way, on weather, did you guys hear about Tennessee freezing on the sidelines because it was 50 degrees for Georgia?
No. Are you serious?
Their heaters broke.
Yeah.
And Laura Rutledge, shout out to Laura Rutledge, she does a serious report being like, hey, the DBs and the running backs are having problems because their heater's down, and now the DBs are sitting where the running backs are, and it's going to be an issue once the running backs come off the field. And I'm sorry, shout out to Chris Fowler. He's like, are you kidding me? It's 55 degrees out here. That's cold weather for these players? They were having problems.
They're not going to do well if they get drafted to the Bills.
Wait, what team? This was not
Tennessee.
Tennessee, the Volunteers.
Yeah, Tennessee.
Yeah, not the Titans.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Titans.
No, we're going to college football.
Yeah.
We're in college
I was
football
like,
here.
wait a minute, those guys weren't doing an NFL game. Yes, I did see that with the Volunteers.
Yeah, sorry, I was totally thinking of the Titans. But the funny thing, I watched a lot of Red Zone yesterday, and there was a point in the fourth quarter where Scott Hansen goes, "Hey, let's go to Tennessee. We've only gone to them once all day." That's quickly becoming the least watchable franchise.
Well, I was surprised. Everyone's like, "Wow, Sam Darnold had such a good day." I'm like, really? We're doing quarterback stats off of Titans wins now?
It also feels like the Titans lose by the same score every week.
Yeah.
Isn't it always like 23-13 or 24-13? It's the same game every freaking week with this team.
And the Vikings are the Notre Dame of this NFL season. They're 8-2 and played nobody. And that was a shot, in case you were wondering.
This was like some of their losses: 23-17, 27-17, 20-17, 24-17, 24-17. Like, it's the same score.
Ferrari Magnum Latigra.
Then they won one game, 2017.
Perloff, that's unfair to take a shot like that at Notre Dame.
Why? Do you watch that Notre Dame Virginia game, another throwaway Notre Dame game? Like
I
college
did
football.
not.
And then the committee's going to be like, we don't care if you play nobody, which means next year we're going to see no games. No one's ever scheduling anyone again.
No.
Specifically because of this year's Notre Dame team. They're going to be like, well, let's do what they did.
But that Notre Dame always has a tough game to begin the season. They play
A&M? What the
Ohio
heck is-
State. They went to Texas A&M.
What has Texas A&M done since Johnny Manziel walked out that building? What is so tough about that?
Texas A&M. They already had a big win this year over LSU.
Honestly, what's the last time A&M was like really
They were
good?
one of the last undefeated teams in the SEC. Texas A&M, and I wouldn't be surprised if they beat Texas.
Yeah,
at the end
but
of the
generally, like this strength of schedule is crazy. You have to admit.
Yes,
Because they won A&M early in the season. They got to get out of this little ACC thing they're doing.
It's not their fault that USC now stinks. They did go to A&M. They did play Ohio State. Like they in years past, they'll take on, at least they'll make a September interesting.
They got screwed by the fact that FSU and USC are just terrible. That's not their fault. Like you would think those are big games.
Well, yeah, but there is luck that comes into this thing. Like, and they just got, they lost to Eastern Illinois, Northern Illinois, some directional.
Northern Illinois.
Northern Illinois?
Yeah.
Eastern Illinois, where Sean Payton and Tony Romo went. Yeah, I mean, it's just frustrating to me that there's so much garbage college football product on at pretty much every channel. It's like, oh my God, Purdue's on again? What is going on? Why is Purdue on TV on the main channel?
Blame Penn State.
Blame Penn State. Blame anybody who plays Purdue beats them 42-7.
It's been a rough season for them. They're like literally one of the worst teams in FBS. Okay, 2 poll questions out there for you. Number 1, are the Steelers a Super Bowl contender? Love for you to weigh in on that at 855-212-4227. They're 8-2, beat the Ravens yesterday. And then 2, whatever you want for Daniel Jones getting benched for Tommy DeVito. I don't know if that's worthy of a poll. Who should be the... How about this?
Why would you put us on a poll?
How about, can we do a fill in the blank? The Giants' next quarterback should be ...
Aaron Rodgers.
Cam Ward.
I would rather not, please.
Cam Ward. Oh my God.
He'll be gone. Well, the Giants really have to start losing here.
Cam Ward might be there because I don't know how the rest of the season is going to go for him. He did not look good in the last game.
He threw for 300 yards.
He holds on to the ball for an hour and a half. So is the Giants the right place to do that? Feels like a disaster waiting to happen.
No, I can tell you that right now. That offensive line hasn't been good for 15 years.
That is true. 855-212-4227. A lot more college football coming back. We got the breaking news that Daniel Jones has been benched.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff. I was almost late because got caught up in a what do the Giants need in the draft conversation. And the funny thing is, if you look at all these teams in the top 10.
With who?
Everybody out in the newsroom.
Oh.
The funny thing is, all 10 teams in the top 10, they need everything. The Giants need everything. The Browns need everything. The Jags need everything. Like everybody.
The Raiders?
The Raiders have like 17 needs. This is going to be if you want to do a mock draft based on needs, you're in trouble because there's so many bad teams right now, and the bad teams feel really bad this year. Like not like they're like one or two players away. They feel like, oh my God, these franchises are disasters.
Well, the reason why you brought that up is because we had some breaking news this morning that Daniel Jones is expected to be benched. He's got a big injury guarantee that obviously the Giants don't want to be on the hook for next year, and they're going to bypass the backup to go straight to the third stringer. You may remember Tommy Cutlets is now going to be back in your life. So buy a fedora and hang on to it.
Yeah, I don't think this is a tanking move to get a higher pick. I think this is at all costs avoid paying Daniel Jones next year move. Like it's not really about losing because Daniel Jones
should be.
Well, Daniel Jones is been terrible this season.
No.
He could do the losing.
But you just laid it out.
I think DeVito will probably play better than Jones.
Yeah, but they're probably worried the backup Drew Lock. They paid him $5 million, I think, to come in and be the backup, and they don't want him to mess around and win a game. I mean, he beat your Eagles last year in a memorable way.
Oh, no, they are. The benching part is for the guarantee. The DeVito part is the tank.
DeVito's numbers are way better than Drew Lock's last year. Last year he was good.
Then why did they pay Drew Lock to be the backup?
Well, I think they really wanted him to compete with Jones, and they pretty quickly found out, like, with this particular offense, Drew Lock is not going to do anything.
By the way, I think this news is going to get old fast because I bet we have more breaking news coming today, if I were to guess.
Ooh, I know where you're going.
Yeah, I mean,
a firing?
Yeah, Ian Rappaport had reported yesterday that the entire Jaguars organization is really feeling, I think the quote was, impending doom around the building. That's not what you want. And everyone's going to be out. If the firing happens, it's going to be Doug Pederson and it's going to be the GM Trent Baalke, who are both going to be out. So what do? They went and had one of the worst losses in franchise history yesterday to the Detroit Lions.
I mean, it looked like Alabama was playing for them.
Mercer. Ouch. Bogus just got a side swipe there.
I'm
from
sorry.
Manny.
Did you see Fordham on Saturday? They
I did,
kicked
actually.
Georgetown's butt, and they made the play of the weekend.
In football, they beat Georgetown? Georgetown has a football team?
They do. Every year they play football.
I saw Georgetown get destroyed.
They got uniforms and everything.
They do.
They stunk up the joint against Notre Dame in basketball.
That did happen.
Yeah.
Nothing going right for Georgetown these days.
No.
Hey, can I admit one internet stalking thing that I did? You posted a photo of a basketball game you did with this woman who was like, I felt like she looked very familiar. I went to her Instagram.
Yes.
And she's got this picture with her and Dua Lipa, like BFFs.
Oh, big fan
Also,
of Dua Lipa.
really cool with Sarah Kustek.
Really good friends with Sarah
Yes.
Kustok. Yeah.
Yeah, I also
Who's
did this.
a trailblazer. So I'm not alone here. Sorry, Bogus. It wasn't your Instagram I was stalking. It was this attractive blonde that you were doing the game with.
That is Adona Thaki, a former Fordham player who's now on the games with us. I don't know the Dua Lipa thing. I know the Kustok thing very well because I tried to ingratiate myself with Sarah last year mentioning Adona's name and it got me nowhere. That's more on me than on them. But I'm glad you guys are internet friends now.
I mean, maybe you get a fallback. I don't know. We'll see.
I got to do more Dua Lipa digging.
This could be great stuff if you have a game that's a blowout. So, how'd you become friends with Dua Lipa?
Yeah, I need information.
I'd stick around. Kevin is in Oregon, wants to talk about the 49ers. Kevin, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
We're doing great. You panicked.
Oh, good. Oh, you asked about, I'm a 49er fan. I have been for a long time. Actually, my first quarterback was John Brody, so I've been through some thin times. But you asked how 49ers fans feel about the state of the team, and I think I can sum it up by saying I can't wait for baseball season.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Wait, who's your team in baseball? The Giants?
San Francisco Giants. Yeah. I mean, they're terrible, too, but at least there's always hope at the beginning of the season. You know, I mean, they usually don't fall out of contention till the end of May.
Dude, why do you root for the Warriors?
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't really into basketball until I moved to Oregon, so I've always been a Trailblazer fan. Of course, I moved here the year after they won the championship in '77, so it hasn't worked out too well with them either.
Kevin, maybe it's you.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Hey, listen, it could be. I'm an Oregon Duck fan too, and I got to tell you, I have a bad feeling about the Ducks. I don't think they're gonna. If they make it to the championship, they're not gonna win it. But that's because I'm rooting for them. Maybe it is me.
Hey, Kevin, we don't have to go through the whole self-loathing thing. It's the 49ers are 5-5. I get it. It's not good, but you don't have to throw the Oregon Ducks in the mix.
I don't know. They always disappoint me. So we'll see. I'm still going to root for them. I'm not like Perloff. I'm not a bandwagon guy.
Well, it sounds like you should be. You're waiting for baseball season? It's November.
I can't wait for baseball season because the 49ers are just. I can't stand to watch them anymore.
Well, Kevin, they're ripping your heart out. That's why. I mean, I totally understand, and thank you for the phone call. And we'll see you with the Giants get a meeting with Juan Soto. But the thing is that the 49ers, I mean, yes, they did a lot of winning in the 90s. I understand that. You've had a lot of great times. And you have made Super Bowls in Kyle Shanahan's era.
Yeah.
But you want to talk about gut-wrenching, heartbreaking losses, they're starting to add up. You got 2 Super Bowls you were leading in the fourth quarter. You've got every single time you've played a division opponent this season, you've lost with 2 minutes or under 2 minutes left in the game. I mean, after a while, that stuff will get to you.
Pain. Now, I'm not sure that's how the Niners feel about this season. Like, I think they're just very disappointed how injured they are and how poorly they're playing. Honestly, they should be killing these teams. If they had their full arsenal. What other team? You lose a $30 million receiver in Brandon Ayuk. Your most expensive running back in the league is out for most of the season. Yep. Your star tight end is out. That's predictable. I keep telling you.
First-round pick got shot in broad daylight. He's thankfully fine.
Deebo Samuel hit the wall. There's no doubt about it. He cannot get around the edge. He's just too slow right now. And that's your best receiver is Jawan Jennings, who luckily you paid $15 million for 2 seasons. He was their lifeline yesterday. If Jawan Jennings wasn't on the field, I don't know what would have happened to the Niners yesterday.
To be honest, I think that if it was just about the injuries, it wouldn't even feel this dire. But it was about the offseason, was filled with drama and contract holdouts and all of that. And then it's just bled into the year. Let's get to Bogish, who's got headlines for us. Hello.
Hello again. These headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect your family, your phone, your furry friends with life, electronic device, and pet health insurance. So just to recap, Tommy Cutlets and his agent from Boardwalk Empire are back. The Giants reportedly benching Daniel Jones for Tommy DeVito. Big Blue is big bad, but this move again is most likely about avoiding that injury guarantee that could keep Jones around for another year. The Giants come back from their bye Sunday to host the Bucks.
Please don't.
If Evan McPherson makes a kick or two, maybe it's same old Chargers this morning. The Bolts blew a 27-6 third quarter lead on the Bengals on Sunday Night Football, but J.K. Dobbins scored a 29-yard run with 18 seconds left, and a Hail Mary was broken up at the goal line, so L.A. got the W, 34-27. Head coach Jim Harbaugh.
I've been having this feeling really since the beginning, back in April, May, June, that we got the right guys at the right time, and that's all a coach can ask for.
Different feelings in the Bengal locker room after another failed comeback. Here's Jamar Chase.
I don't call plays for us, so I can't really do nothing.
Do you think that's part of the finishing factor is plays stuff?
I don't know.
I don't know. Chase caught 2 of Joe Burrow's 3 touchdown passes last night. Their Bengals are 4-7 overall, 1-6 in one-score games.
I don't get that quote at all. Not even for 1 second. First of all, if anything went wrong, they should have run the ball more last night. Like, they threw to Chase 1,000,000 times. And he came up small, to be totally honest.
Yeah, I mean, was the question more about the beginning of the game to be down 27-6? So the end was fine.
That's a good point. I don't know what he's talking about, really. He had 13 targets. It's a lot of targets.
Does he want 23?
Watch the Bengals. All they do is throw the ball. I don't totally understand why they didn't run. The Chargers, according to the broadcast, their one weakness is the run defense. So bizarre thing to say. Like that whole thing. Who is the guy? Trey Wingo who said bad vibes. Bad vibes throughout. I blame T. Higgins and I blame Jamar Chase now. Those are the two guys, not Burrow. He can do no wrong. He dresses in a pantsuit.
By the way, smart move by Burrow not wearing that thing to the post game.
Yeah,
just show up in a T-shirt, dude.
That could not be done.
Yeah.
You can't show up in a light blue blousey thing. What was that?
Well, I thought he was going powder blue as kind of a troll maybe to the Chargers because that's really their color. But he showed up, he was rocking it was definitely a pantsuit. Although that's just called a suit for men.
Right.
But I think the way the buttons were,
top.
But the way the buttons were, I honestly
kind of like a waiter, but it was blue.
Yeah,
cropped. It was weird.
Yeah, it was cropped. It looked like something you would find in the ladies' department. But to be honest, maybe it's just way too fashion forward for people like us.
He looked like Hillary Clinton with a lot of bling.
With the blonde tips too. She gotta have that.
So I didn't see him last night, but have you guys already mentioned Mac Hollins today? How he showed up at the Bills game yesterday?
Love it.
Well, first of all, Mac never wears shoes.
Yeah,
probably.
no shoes.
No, he was wearing some weird construction worker vest and no shirt.
Of course he was.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that guy?
What's right about that guy? Everything. And he's playing really well.
Big catch for him yesterday at one point, and he's doing a lot of good blocking. Big Mac Hollins fan over here.
The Niners, by the way, have lost division games, 3 of them after leading in the fourth quarter. After yesterday's 2019 home loss to the Seahawks, Geno Smith ran for the winning points with 12 seconds left. Seattle scoring both of its touchdowns after Nick Bosa left the game with hip and oblique issues. Matt Collins and those Bills giving the Chiefs their first loss since last Christmas, 30-21 in Buffalo. That's 6 straight wins for the Bills. It's a 5-game run for the Steelers after denying the Ravens 18-16. Baltimore's loss included 12 penalties, 3 turnovers, and 2 missed Justin Tucker field goals. The 2016 Warriors, the 93 Rockets, the 49 Washington Capitals, and now the 2024 Cavaliers, the only 4 teams in NBA history to win their first 15 games. Cleveland down Charlotte last night, 128-114. Darius Garland, 25 points and 12 assists as Donovan Mitchell took the night off. James Harden passed Ray Allen for the second most threes in NBA history in the Clippers' 116-105 win over the Jazz. And the Mavs held off the Thunder, 121-119. OKC missing a 3 at the buzzer after trailing by 8 with less than a minute to go. Wisconsin football canned OC Phil Longo yesterday. The Badgers had just 3 points and 88 yards in the second half of Saturday's loss to Oregon. They are 97th in the country in scoring this season. And the Wayne Gretzky chase heated up even more last night.
As Vegas will attack. Cronus, they turn it over to him. Ahead to Ovechkin. He's got the empty net, and he's got it! It's a hat trick for Alex Ovechkin!
John Walton on Caps Radio. 3 goals in a 5-2 win in Vegas. 866 career goals now, so Ovechkin needs just 29 to pass Gretzky for the most ever. Guys, back to you.
I mean, we did not think this was going to happen this season.
No. Pretty big deal.
To have a 3-goal night, a couple more of those, and the watch is already on, but now we're really getting close, right?
Go ahead.
I was going to say, we talk about LeBron being the ageless one. I mean, Ovechkin doing this at his age is crazy.
Yeah. Isn't Yager playing somewhere too now, by the way?
Yeah, the Czech Republic or something.
No, he really is. He's playing overseas.
He's actually about to fight Mike Tyson as well.
Yeah. This is so weird to me, though. Just like a guy like I would never. It's one of those records like Jerry Rice's receiving yards and Wayne Gretzky's scoring record. This feels off, right? No, I'm not blaming anyone. I'm just feeling like that is something that does not seem right.
It didn't seem like mathematically possible for anyone the way the game was played for so long. I mean, when Gretzky was in the 80s, those were like 9-goal games between two. Like the scoring was out of this world. And it hasn't been in the NHL for a long time, but here's Ovechkin just plugging away. And now this is going to happen. Like unless he has some kind of catastrophic fall off, this is going to happen. And it's crazy.
How are people feeling about this, too? Because I don't know if people want to see Wayne get taken off the mountain.
He's on this pedestal. You're right. I totally agree. This is going to rub some people the wrong way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think outside hockey knows this yet or has feelings for it yet. It's still that far away. But and Ovechkin's kind of a weird character to a certain extent too. So there's that kind of in the conversation. So I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be like when we get there and we're literally like officially on the watch. But I feel like the real reaction has not happened yet either way.
Everyone's in denial.
I think Jerry Rice is safe, though. He's at 22,895. The closest active player is DeAndre Hopkins at 12,700.
Yeah, but if they keep adding games,
you guys
see another report over the weekend that it's going to go to 18 regular season, 2 preseason. I mean,
more Jet games. Yay.
Oh, God. More Rodgers, more Tommy DeVito, more Browns.
This is not good.
More Raiders.
Yay, NFL.
More illegal men downfield penalties.
At least they stopped calling the illegal formation. I was about to
called it yesterday.
Brick through my TV. Which one?
Oh, my
the
God.
Titans
I saw
lost
like
a touchdown.
6 of them, yeah.
The illegal man downfield is the one I think they should just get rid of. Nobody cares.
I don't even totally understand it. I hate to sound like I don't know football, but like, is it that big a deal if a guy blocks 3 yards downfield instead of 2?
I don't get it. Yeah, most of the time, those players have nothing to do with the play. Like, the Ravens had a huge play on the last drive. They got pulled back because of illegal man downfield.
That was an actually engaged block. He wasn't even just like running downfield. He was blocking a guy.
Yeah, he was blocking and he fell down. He happened to get up and he was 2 yards down the field.
He was just wandering.
Like, yeah.
It wasn't even in the play.
Get rid of it. Nobody cares about illegal man down the field.
Let's start a petition. 855-212-4227. Bogues, thanks so much. We still have our college football report card to do from the weekend, our M&P 500. So much on tap. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. What a weekend. We'll get to our college football report card in just a moment, but Josh is in Philadelphia. wants to give his take on the Tyson-Paul fight and also John Jones beating Stipe Miocic. Back-to-back combat sports nights. What's up, Josh?
Good morning, Mrs. Gray. Good morning, Mr. Perloff. How are you guys?
Great. How you doing?
Yeah, I know you guys don't really talk MMA and boxing. I just want quick on a Tyson fight. I thought it was as boring as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to the John Jones, I think he really cemented his legacy as being like the greatest fighter of all time, even though he has a lot of like steroid accusations and other things. I was just wondering what you guys think like UFC, MMA would have to do to become a true like mainstream that you guys would like talk about it daily or weekly. I was just wondering your thoughts on that.
Listen, you can go ahead, Perloff.
My observation is I have a lot of friends who are UFC fans. UFC fans tend to be in their own little silo that is different. Like, I have a lot of friends who don't like NBA and NFL but love UFC. Fight sports is just a different vibe, and they just go in different lanes where I think, MLB, NFL, MLB, college football, they all kind of work together. I feel like UFC's in a different lane and just has a different apparatus behind it. So I don't know if it would ever be mainstream like NFL. It'll always have loyalists, and it's doing great. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I just don't think it'll ever be the number one primary sport.
Listen, I mean, if you listen to some other show, Jim Rome will lead a show with MMA constantly. He has Dana White on all the time. Zach Gelb has Dana White on. I always thought Dana was actually in some ways, not a gatekeeper, but it was kind of hard sometimes to take him totally seriously as a commissioner of a sport. But again, or president, whatever he is. But, listen, they've got this big deal with ESPN. I think it's really just about who's on top in terms of their fighters and how and whether they have some big rivalries going. Because when it was Conor and when he was fighting, when Ronda was fighting, when John Jones was in his prime, I think they were as mainstream as it was going to get.
Feels like they're missing a crossover star right now.
Probably.
And
John Jones can't be that guy.
No.
I love him. He's from my hometown, but he is hard to love because he's always one step away from doing something pretty bad.
They do have a pretty huge advocate right now for the league/sport that I think maybe could change things in President-elect Trump.
Yeah.
I'm being real about that. Like, he loves going to these fights. Yeah. He's there all the time. All the guys were shouting him out during their wins last night.
Dana, Joe Rogan,
right.
These are huge supporters of
him. So, I mean, this guy, is about to be president of the United States again, right? So if he's going to continue to be, the guy in office who's going into these matches, supporting the sport, maybe that brings it to that level. I don't know. But it feels like they need a guy in the ring, or a woman, because I agree, when it was Ronda and Conor ruling the sport, I did feel like those felt like megastars. I don't know if I see a megastar in UFC right now.
I think the sport's a bit technical for all fans. Like, actually, if you actually watch a fight, it's like, wait, it's not quite boxing. It's just a little more.
I see that.
Yeah, I just feel like I've been to a few, and it's great and it's entertaining. There's a lot of hype around it, but actually, I think it's a little easier to watch, like Georgia, Alabama, for a casual fan to me.
I don't know if you listen. I'm not casting a diversion here. It just, if you have a little bit of bloodlust, like if you like watching people fight, then I think it's very accessible. And to be fair, because Dana controls the entire sport, you're gonna get the matchups that you want. I need to see something bloody. Exactly. And if you've got a little of that, and again, I'm not judging anybody, then I think you'll like it even if you don't know the rear naked choke versus the blah blah blah.
Yeah, but I mean, do you think it's gonna, like, I think the caller was asking if it's gonna challenge like the Super Bowl or something. Is it gonna be like a 1A sport? I'd be surprised if it was. I'd be surprised if it was like getting the. I know how big is their TV deal? Like, didn't the NBA just do a $30 billion TV deal? Maybe UFC will be fine, but I just don't think it's going to be the primary thing.
KJ's in Milwaukee. Quickly, KJ, you want to weigh in on the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Good morning. Thanks for taking my call. Listen, I feel like as long as you have an elite defense like the Pittsburgh Steelers have, a running game, and you have a serviceable quarterback and Russell Wilson, actually two serviceable quarterbacks, you have a chance. You got a kicker, Anything can happen. Crazy
And you have a good
things
coach.
have happened, right?
And you have a good coach.
And you have a good coach.
KJ, I'm with
granted,
you on
he
this
hasn't
one.
had a lot of success in the playoffs recently, but he's a great coach.
You got a kicker. I mean,
You got a kicker? Is that where we're at with the Steelers? We're talking about like the Chiefs.
the Chiefs are in this conference. Your Buffalo Bills. Chris Boswell is a difference maker over Patrick Mahomes.
Harrison Bucker on IR. Tyler Bass missed an extra point yesterday. Justin Tucker missed 2 field goals. Yeah, having a kicker. Evan McPherson missing field goals. It's carnage when it comes to kicker.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Hand off to Dobbins. And there goes Dobbins on his horse to the 20, to the 15, to the 10, into the end zone. Touchdown, Chargers. 29 yards. J.K. Dobbins with 18 seconds left.
Chargers Radio Network. Chargers did not charger last night. They tried. They gave up an 18-point lead. They allowed the Bengals to score 21 straight points, but ultimately they did hang on in a game that felt like nobody wanted to win it for a while in the fourth quarter. I almost want to rank the brutal losses from yesterday because there were some stunners.
I mean, the Bengals had so many opportunities in the last 3 minutes of that game. A drop, possible pick six by Mike Hilton. Just all sorts of things went disastrously wrong. I mean, what's the one? Oh, I know which one. The Bears. Every week there's a blocked field goal to lose a game. It's tough.
The 49ers losing to Geno Smith, running in a touchdown with 12 seconds left after you had won 6 straight against that team, and now the Niners' playoff hopes are in jeopardy. I mean, there were some bad ones yesterday.
The Niners, depending on what happens and what the health report is like, forget playoffs. They might really go on a slide. Because I'm not sure who's going to be playing for them. I mean, they're a shell of themselves. One of those injury years.
Now, for the Bengals, though, this one was particularly jarring because their shot at the playoffs now is basically hope and a prayer. You've got to win out the rest of your games if you're going to get to 10 wins, which it's most likely going to take you just even be considered to get into the playoffs in the AFC. And that's before we take into account tiebreakers and other things like that. It's just been a bad season for them. And the worst part is that Joe Burrow is playing great. And even Jamar Chase is having a good season. But
He's having a great season. But they played the worst schedule in the league. I mean, it is crazy. Look at the teams. Every team they've lost to is 8-2, basically. Or 7. They lost to the Chargers, have a big winning record. Baltimore, 2 losses, winning record. Eagles only have 2 losses. Chiefs, 1 loss. Commanders are 7-4. So it's generally like they have nothing but winning teams on their schedule. Where the Chargers, it's the first... They've beaten one winning team this year, and that was the Broncos. The Chargers have faced nobody but losing teams. So I'm just saying, like, sometimes things schedule-wise have a big role in this.
Totally, but it's not like the Bengals are playing a first-place schedule. Joe Burrow got hurt last year.
I think they've had the hardest schedule. You should double. I know,
but they technically are not playing a first-place schedule because they didn't finish in first place in the AFC North last year. And so you would just think that with a healthy Joe Burrow, it's kind of like the line from Breaking Bad when Walter White's like, I am the one who knocks. Like, you think the Bengals, even when they play tough teams, they're the ones who are going to be the ones imposing their will with a healthy Burrow, and they've won none of those games.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been every little thing at the end of every game has gone wrong. I don't know if I would think they were the Walter White of the NFL. That sort of feels like the Chiefs, but I mean, they're a very, very good team, but the way they built their team, we knew the defense was not going to be awesome. It was going to have to be Lou Anarumo scheming ways to win because they don't have that much talent there. They don't spend a lot there, and he has not schemed anything up.
Yeah, see, I didn't think we came into the season like that, and you picked them to go to the Super Bowl.
I did.
I know you didn't.
Well,
I thought Lou Anarumo had the secret sauce on everything.
Well, I still think they were right there. They should have beaten Kansas City. They should have beaten Baltimore twice. They're just as good as any team in the league. Sometimes the ball does not. Yeah, honestly, they're 4-7. I don't know. The one loss that really stands out to me is where they didn't look like a good team was the Eagles loss And that was baffling because Joe Burrow started out just shredding the Eagles. Then they couldn't stop them at all. Their defense is not good. Last night we saw the Chargers seemed to do anything they wanted the first half. They let their foot off the gas in the second half. I think Cincinnati played with a lot of desperation. They just couldn't close it. And the funny thing is Burrow missed a couple plays at the end where I know he wants back. He probably wants back this whole season.
Well, I would if I were him too, because it's just not been a banner year. And he's watching teams like Kansas City, obviously, the Bills, the Ravens, the Steelers now. Chargers are coming on. Positivity in Denver. Hell, even Miami's won 2 in a row. I mean, you just have teams that feel like at least there's something. If you're a Patriots fan, at least you got Drake May now, right? You got something. What do the Bengals have? They got a great quarterback. They've got a healthy wide receiver. They've got a great pass rusher. They got another wide receiver, and they can't do jack.
Well, they haven't had T. Higgins, so that's been a killer.
He's been in and out of the lineup. He was better last night. 855-212-4227. Brutal losses yesterday. That was the theme. Let's get to the NFL in 60. This is where we go around the league. We give you a recap every game in 60 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff take you around the league, recapping this weekend's football action. Time for NFL in 60.
All right, EJ, start us off.
Okay, so let's begin in Chicago, where the Packers blocked the late field goal to seal their win over the Bears 20-19.
Just all-time bad week for the Bears. You got to fire your offensive coordinator on Tuesday. On Sunday, you're losing for the 11th straight time to the Green Bay Packers. It's just thorough domination, and you should have won that game, and you didn't.
To me, a bit of a sigh of relief, too, that Caleb Williams played much better because Caleb Williams' trajectory was down, down, down. Sorry, Shane Waldron. I guess you were the problem because Caleb Williams had a very nice game, I think, on Sunday.
They still only scored 19 points. I mean, it's not like they lit the world on fire. And if I'm the Packers...
They had 3 against the Patriots the week before in Chicago.
That's true. I always want a little bit more from the Packers offense, but I know Jordan Love's not 100%.
Shout out to my fantasy team, Amon-Ra St. Brown and David Montgomery. Killed it for the Lions.
Yeah.
52-6 Lions beat the Jags 52-6 this game.
I have their kicker, Bates. I'm really into him. This reminds me of the Rams in '99. This is a juggernaut. I love this. It's so amazing. I don't know why Dan Campbell was so aggressive in the second half of that game. He was going for it on 4th down, throwing bombs left and right. There's so many ways the Lions can beat you. This was a blast.
There was just no mercy with this team either. Like, they will embarrass you. And unfortunately, they lose Alex Anzalone, who broke his forearm. So he's on 6 to 8 weeks.
It's a bit worrisome.
And then they already lost Aiden Hutchinson, obviously, and they still continue to roll. The other part, Jacksonville, feels like any moment now we're going to get the message that Doug Pederson is out.
Let's go to Tennessee, where the Vikings turned to 8-2 after beating the Titans 23-13.
Listen, more teams looking real good against the Titans. I mean, I think even though Will Levis had a couple nice throws, I think we're over with Levis, right? We realized that.
Oh my God, we were over in week 2.
Yeah, I know, but then they put him back in. So, were we over? Were we not? And again, this is more the Vikings is stacking these wins, but I don't know how much they really mean.
I said earlier in the season, and you guys didn't believe it, they are the 13-4 Vikings that lost to the Giants in the playoffs. They are just a very thin team for their record. I'm big Kevin O'Connell. I'm rooting for Sam Darnold. Great comeback story. They just do not seem like a contender.
Look out for those Dolphins, Maggie. Dolphins beat the Raiders 34-19 in Miami.
I told you guys. I mean,
told us what?
Well, that there is something to fear about.
They
these
just
Dolphins.
beat the Raiders at home.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns from Tua. First time the Miami's got to 30 points this season, so maybe they're starting to round a little bit more into
There's
form.
a 2-8 Raiders. What are you talking about?
Meanwhile, Vegas has lost 6 straight after they fired their OC, their offensive line coach, and their quarterback coach. They scored a whopping 17 points.
Brock Bowers looks good, though.
That's true.
126 yards for Brock Bowers in this one. Let's go to New England, where the Rams went across the country and beat the Patriots 28-22.
I know they lost, but can we say some nice things about New England? Drake May looks like the real deal for sure, and Christian Gonzalez had an amazing game. They kept talking about it, even in a losing effort. Big win for the Rams, stay in the mix. Puka Nacua, toughest dude out there. It looked like he broke every bone in his body to lay out for a touchdown catch. Rams win.
The one thing about Drake May, another big interception as they're trying to drive to go and win the game.
Third and long with a minute left, no timeouts. He was just pushing it down the field.
I get it. I also wish Gerard Mayo wasn't being so conservative here. Like you said earlier, it's not about the wins and losses. Just put Drake May in all these different situations and see how he does.
Get him a number one. Get that man a number one. Get him his A.J. Brown, and let's see.
Another shout out to my fantasy team. Taysom Hill had 3 touchdowns
Dude.
in the Saints blowout win over the Browns, 35-14.
Dude, you had Taysom Hill, and you had him in the lineup at tight end?
Literally picked him up on the scrap heap this week and started him.
Look at you. Bill Polian over there.
Everyone put way too much blame on Deshaun Watson for this Browns situation. That is the worst effort I've seen of an NFL team in forever. They have a player, I'm going to call it Juan Thornhill, like either was throwing the game injured or just does not put on any effort. I know they benched him, the safety, but they let Taysom Hill run all. They had no receivers whatsoever. They had nobody lined up a receiver. Everyone knew Taysom Hill was, and they just wouldn't tackle him. They're the worst tackling team in the league, I think, by most metrics. This is a disaster. And now I'm starting to worry about Stefanski.
You should be. And by the way, Saints 2-0 under new head coach Darren Rizzi. No word on whether he clogged the toilet 2 games in a row.
Hope he did. Maybe it's a good luck charm. All right, let's go to my sorry-ass Jets. Colts win 28-27. A career day for Anthony Richardson, who threw for a career high 272 yards. Who predicted that? Oh, that's right, me.
Well, EJ, you've seen a lot of bad football over the years because you are a Jets fan. The final drive. Now, this is the Aaron Rodgers magic. I know you only had 46 seconds left and no timeouts, but you're talking about a fumble, you're talking about a penalty, and then you're talking about an Aaron Rodgers sack. Game over.
Oh.
I mean,
I was Garrett Wilson yesterday.
Here?
He's hurt. He's definitely hurt. So he'll be back. He'll be healthy next year. Can we talk about that? My favorite unit in the entire NFL, the Colts receiving corps. Josh Downs, Alec Pierce, Michael Pittman, and I forgot A.D. Mitchell. Oh, my God. They have way too many receivers. I don't know if any of them are going to be good, but Anthony Richardson looked like a pro quarterback yesterday.
He did.
Against the Jets defense, they all look that way. Let's go to Pittsburgh, where the Ravens failed on a 2-point conversion that could have tied the game. Steelers beat the Ravens in Pittsburgh 18-16.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, bro.
That early turnover just immediately, it's like, oh, crap. The Ravens are going to do this again against the Steelers. They played the same game. Last year, lost both games 17-10. This year, 18-16. They haven't gotten to 20 points on the Steelers since the year 2020.
Listen, the Justin Tucker missed field goals are a problem. It is, because the Ravens have major expectations this year, and he missed a 47-yarder and a 50-yarder. That just cannot happen. I think the Steelers also are a Super Bowl contender, and it's about time we start calling them that. The interesting way they can use Russ and then Justin Fields maybe in the red zone, that could unlock something here.
Why does it just put 7 guys on George Pickens? Name the second weapon on that team.
Well, technically, I guess it's Van Jefferson, but...
By the way, Zay Flowers, dude, you gotta catch the ball.
I've never seen a ball bounce off of a guy like that.
He's got a little bit. He worries me on that team. He's got Zay, all the talent in the world.
Buy your wife some flowers.
Oh, that's a good one.
I wonder who said that. Let's go to Denver, where it was a blowout in the Mile High City. Denver beat the Falcons 38-6. 4 touchdowns for Bo Nix.
Bo Nix, impressive day. I don't know what the Falcons were doing defensively. So you have all your defensive backs are hurt, right? 3 of you guys were hurt coming into the game, and another one got hurt during the game. So you decide to bring no pressure against Bo Nix. So you're going to just let him sit back there and carve up, again, a secondary that's already depleted. Raheem Morris, what? Why, dude? The other part about this, it really broke right for Sean Payton to pull the NFC South this year because he's got all this institutional knowledge of these teams from all of his years coaching the Saints, and they swept all the NFC South teams.
Yeah, I was actually surprised that the Falcons were 2-point dogs coming into this game, but then I knew why. They're not very good, and they're still going to win that division.
They wrote him off, but he didn't write back. Geno Smith leads the Seahawks to a game-winning drive over the Niners. Seahawks win 2017 in San Fran.
EJ, you want to brag about your receiver there, JSN? Obviously the star of that team, which is so funny because DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett are there. To me, I'm sorry, great win by the Seahawks, but the implosion of the 49ers, I can't keep my eyes off it. They're so every single time 3rd and 8, and Brock Purdy runs around and tries to make a play. their offense is not what it used to be.
Nick Bosa also re-aggravates a hip injury in this game, so now it's a hip and it's oblique. He's sitting on the sidelines watching his team now go 5-5. They've now lost to every other team in their division in the last 2 minutes of the game.
Yeah, and they should have won, but where are they without Juwan Jennings yesterday? He carried that team.
Time to shout, Maggie.
Yeah, finally! Yeah.
Bills beat the Chiefs 30-21. Josh Allen iced the game with a late touchdown run.
Josh Allen, MVP. Bills staying in this rivalry, at least for now. A little worried that Patrick Mahomes said this adds more fuel to their fire. Whoops, didn't need that. But this was a good win for the Bills because you have to keep some belief. It can't just be, Chiefs in town, or you play the Chiefs and it's a fait accompli that the Chiefs are going to win. At least a little bit of belief. I'm not saying doubt with the Chiefs, but belief in the minds of the Bills.
You say that, but the reality is it would have been better to lose this game because now you have to beat the Chiefs twice.
I'm okay with that. I'd rather them win this game than lose this game. I don't want to play these mind games.
Well, you did it. You did it a couple times. Winning the MVP too. That's a bit nerve-wracking because that usually means playoff shortcomings. But no, I think the Chiefs look very vulnerable. They just do not. They lack speed, explosiveness. Nobody there scares you. It seems like every target is some desperate throw to Noah Gray. I just don't know what's going on with that offense. Of course, it'll be different in the playoffs.
Yeah, finally. No, in the regular season, the Bills can actually beat the Chiefs. Just the postseason. But now we'll see. Maybe they do get the number 1 seed. Ravens lost yesterday. Obviously, they beat the Chiefs.
Yeah, I don't know that home field is that bye is big. The home field feels a little bit less relevant in recent years in the playoffs. I don't know what it is. It just seems like everybody's good on the road, too.
Well, the one thing, too, about the Chiefs' run defense is really good. The Bills could not get anything going. I'm surprised they actually stayed going to James Cook as long as they did because he couldn't get a yard, barely. So when the weather's bad, and listen, the weather could be bad in Kansas City. It was one of the coldest games ever in Kansas City last year.
No, it's going to be huge in the AFC playoffs is running quarterbacks. That is going to be because Josh Allen runs. Now Justin Herbert runs like crazy. Lamar Jackson runs like crazy. Mahomes always starts to run in the postseason. This is going to be a brutal AFC field. I think we're going to have 3 amazing games. I think the Bills are going to be in some classics, which I know makes you nervous, but it's fun for the rest of us.
It's a different kind of team this year. And I was actually very proud of Sean McDermott that he didn't call some stupid timeout at the end of the game to allow the opponent to really regroup because that's always what happens.
When you say different kind of team, like tougher and can built to win those close games now, where in the past they kind of came up short.
They're just not so reliant on one guy offensively. And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I just think they're not built to blow you away, though. So they're going to be in a lot of close games. There's going to be some real stressful moments on the treadmill for you.
Thank goodness I have the treadmill. By the way, guys, I figured it out.
Yeah.
You guys got to get on board here. And this is not an expensive treadmill that I bought. I bought I think it's a $500 treadmill. So it's a little wobbly. What?
You got $500 you can lend me?
You want it for a treadmill? I got it for you, Manny. The Peloton ones are $1,500 or something, even $2,500, something crazy.
You might as well take out a mortgage.
Yeah, no, this one was one we got it from Amazon. Set it up, no frills. Just walk out that stress.
I did show my parents that you were on that treadmill for about 76 minutes, and they said that you're actually more crazy than me when it comes to watching the Knicks. So congratulations to that, Maggie.
Manny, by the way, I'm telling you, get the treadmill.
What teams do we have to watch, though? EJ doesn't. Is that for the Hurricanes for EJ?
Definitely not the Jets. Are you kidding?
Yeah. And the Giants. And I have nothing to stress about in football. I have Nick Sirianni, the second winningest active coach and one of the winningest coaches in NFL history on my sideline.
Yeah, and it's all because of him. 855-212-4227. Okay, lots more to do, including we have to get to the M&P 500. Whose stock is up, whose stock is down after a big weekend.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The M&P 500 on the Infinity Sports Network.
All right, every week here on the Maggie and Perloff Show, we do our stock up and stock down. Very, very busy weekend. A lot to squeeze in. Maggie, why don't you get us started? Who had their stock up?
All right, stock up. I'm going to go with Geno Smith. Boy, was he embattled. You're thinking about, all right, Seahawks are going to need another quarterback. He cannot beat the San Francisco 49ers. And what does he do? Takes the ball himself, Pearl. 12 seconds left. He runs in a touchdown. Seahawks win in San Francisco. 49ers are reeling. Geno Smith needed that.
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay. My stock up. I've been waiting to stock up for this guy for about 2.5 years. How about Taysom Hill? Am I talking about Taysom Hill, the wide receiver, the running back, the quarterback? Yes, all of the above. The dude threw an interception and fumbled and still dominated every aspect of this game. He was amazing. 18 yards passing, 138 yards rushing, and let's see how many. 50 yards receiving on 8 catches. First down machine. Should be a Philadelphia Eagle. I thought that they should have tried to pry him away. There are so many teams struggling in short yardage around the league, Maggie, 2-point conversions. Somebody needs Taysom Hill, a contender, because the Saints obviously at 4-7 are not going to be in the playoffs. I think he's wasting away there. You know how old he is, though? I think he's 34 years old, and he still runs like a 4.6. He's the most bizarre athlete that ever came in the NFL.
It is odd.
Yeah, no, I mean, he could barely play quarterback at BYU, but he came out at the combine. He's 6'2", 230, and ran a 4.4. He is a freak.
He's being wasted on the Saints. But he barely plays anymore. I mean, he's only good for, half a season?
He was being wasted on the scrap heap in my fantasy league, and I scooped him right up.
Good for you.
And you played him at tight end, too.
Played him at tight
which
end.
He barely, I guess, kind of plays.
Shout out to Dawson Knox for missing the game. Or not Dawson Knox, Kincaid for missing the game. That put Hill right in the starting lineup.
I had Derek Carr. We picked him up off the scrap heap on Sunday morning. Played very well.
Okay, if there's going to be a stock up, we got to go stock down. And, man, I've got a lot to choose from here. But I'm going to go with Mike Tyson, stock down. I mean, it was an odd fight. It was a circus of an event. But it was one of those boring circuses, sort of, because he wouldn't really engage too much with Jake Paul. Lost his legs, really, in around the 3rd round or so. The mystique of Tyson, I think, has taken a little bit of a hit, no pun intended, and we all saw his tush on TV. Could have done without that.
Legacy doesn't mean nothing.
Okay, mine is a little global. It's not even really about this week, but can I just say, Giants stock down for old receivers. 30-year-old receivers. There is not a single receiver in the top 25 in receiving yards who's 30 and above. And basically, we've gotten next to nothing out of Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, DeAndre Hopkins, Stephon Diggs this year. All the trades, kind of, so far, bombs. I just think that, and I guess who's getting paid? All those old guys. I think we've seen that sea change at wide receiver, where now the young guys are just taking over. You basically, like, 7 receivers are coming in every year who are just amazing. There's 2 guys in the top 10. Brian Thomas and Brock Bowers are both in the top 10 in receiving yards, rookies. Like, you don't need to pay old receivers again, Maggie. I keep telling you, but I noticed it around the league. Like, there's young guys everywhere. Even Seattle, JSN is clearly the number 1 now over DK Metcalf. It just happens so fast. It's a fast-moving league. These old guys are not doing anything. I know that's a random one, but Devontae Adams, like, where was that savior? Tyreek Hill is not the same player. Deebo Samuel's bad. Diggs is hurt. It is very interesting to me that all these highly paid wide receivers are not delivering.
Do we have time for another round? Okay. I want to do another stock up here, and I went to the fighting, and I'm going to go back to it. I mean, John Jones beat Stipe Miocic, and that was a big crowd at Madison Square Garden. It's been a very up and down, more down career for John Jones, considering all the promise and just how good at times he's been. But now maybe we set up another big fight here for John Jones if he can keep his head on straight.
When was the last time that his opponent, Miocic, had been in the ring?
Like 2-3 years.
Oh, wow. That's a hot product right there.
I got another down one for you.
Yeah, what do you got?
I got a stock down, and that's tough for Louisville. We had a couple bad college football endings. This one, you were a 20.5-point favorite to Stanford and basically lost this thing in every way a bad team can lose it. Penalties. You allow your opponent, they score 2 touchdowns in the last 2 minutes, basically. Stanford is not a good football team. They upset Louisville, and Louisville, that's it. I mean, as far as the ACC is concerned, good night.
One of the worst losses I've ever seen. I cannot stress how bad it was.
Just brutal.
Literally gave the game. You talk about 2 back-to-back penalties with 10 seconds left. Put them in field goal range. You can't make it up.
Guy hit a 50-yarder or thereabouts. And
kind of a killer, too, because a lot of teams have Louisville as their best
Miami
opponent.
and Notre Dame, that was a rough day for them.
They should be fine, but that is a little scary as far as the strength of victory for some teams.
some tough college football endings. Obviously, BYU with Jake Retzlaff, who ends up throwing a bad, basically has the ball in his hand to try to win. They go down. Wisconsin had a shot to take down number 1 Oregon. They fall short. Who am I missing? I mean, Georgia pretty much just won it. LSU losing.
LSU.
By the way, can we stop getting all on Brian Kelly when he yells at somebody on the sideline?
Why?
Are you guys new around here? He's been doing that forever.
Yeah, it's never been cool, and it's not cool now.
And it wasn't cool when Coach K used to do it.
Well,
and it's not
like,
cool when anyone does it, but stop being shocked, like the outrage police. I don't get that.
I would not. I think Brian Kelly is so far over the top of Coach K. I mean, he's ridiculous.
College, Tom
There's
Izzo.
no-
College
Tom
coaches
Izzo.
scream at their players like either you hate it about everybody or you accept it.
Tom Izzo's Mother Teresa compared to Brian Kelly. No,
is not.
None of those guys are in the same bucket as Brian Kelly.
think
He does
there's-
ridiculous things.
I've always had an issue with Kelly for one reason. I always feel like his teams particularly play really tight in big moments and in big games. And I feel like when they see him going crazy, they don't get their act together and they also lose their mind. You have players yelling at him on the sidelines. Like I feel like when you talk about K, and I don't love for anybody. I am one of those guys. So I think it's a little too much. But when you talk about K, you talk about Izzo, those guys seem to have the right pulse on their teams to actually get them to play better in some of those moments.
Not always with Izzo.
Not always, but there are times where Izzo's done that and they've won games.
Izzo's the best postseason coach in the history of the sport.
Yeah, but what has he done in the last 6 years? 7 years?
There's nobody like Tom Izzo. Tom Izzo is there's nobody who's been better at the NCAA tournament or worse in the regular season than Tom Izzo. So you can't say he's like not a big game guy. That's ridiculous.
Hurley's yelling at UConn seems to be working.
Yeah. And by the way, I disagree with you guys. I do not second this take. I think Coach K and Tom Izzo are way different than Brian Kelly.
Why?
Mainly
What's different?
because Brian Kelly is so obscene and over the top and almost violent with it the way he is. Coach K is nothing like that. He's not like Bobby Knight. Like Brian Kelly's way closer to Bobby Knight than like Coach K is so beloved by his players. I just don't think their styles are different. I mean,
I think you're applying what you want to see. They scream and get in these players' faces. Brian Kelly's not pushing anybody. Tom Izzo come closer to that. In fact, he actually has pushed his own players.
Yeah, but Tom Izzo is so beloved by his players. I mean, that's like the cult of Tom Izzo. Nobody even likes Brian Kelly.
I think that speaks to like what I was saying though. I don't think that Kelly has any feel for his players. I think
I got to go to the
Izzo
interwebs on
knows
this
the
one. I
guys
think
he
you
can
guys are
push, and
way
I'm not
off.
saying again. I don't like it for anybody. I just think when I see Brian Kelly, I never think he's gonna win a big game or win a championship because I feel like he's a guy that loses his cool. I feel like those guys sometimes it's actually a little like strategy behind it.
Calculated?
It's calculated. There's no calculation with Brian Kelly. I think he just does not have composure in big games.
Now, I think, first of all, Coach K never grabbed him and screamed, "You're bleeping and uncoachable," did he? Because, first of all, Coach K only recruits coachable guys. I think, like, Brian Kelly is trying to do what he can with this LSU team. It's just hard. I mean, I think his big mistake was going to SEC. That was a crazy move now that we look back at it.
So our own Andrew Kaplan had something interesting he wrote in the chat before. He thinks Brian Kelly's going to the NFL after this season.
Yeah, okay. Do you think anyone wants him now?
New York Jets, do not do it. Red flags everywhere. Do not do it.
Interesting. Andrew Bogish is here with headlines. What's up, folks?
Your headlines this time sponsored by PXG Golf. Staying long and straight on the golf course is easier than ever with PXG clubs. Take your game to a whole new level and save $10 per club at pxg.com/football and use code football. Deeper. Jim Nantz called it the play of the season. It was at least the play that ended the Chiefs' 15-game winning streak. Josh Allen's pinballing 26-yard TD run late yesterday in Buffalo. Bills tackle Deion Dawkins didn't see it as well as we did since he was busy blocking.
Can't wait to see the replay. As soon as y'all leave me alone, I'm going to go on my phone, look at X or go on Twitter or write X's Twitter with Instagram and see what's going on. But like all I seen was Josh bouncing off of tackles and then he fell into the end zone. So Josh is crazy.
After Allen scored with 2:17 left, the Bills picked off Patrick Mahomes for a second time to secure the 30-21 final. The Bills' win streak is now 6. The The Chargers allowed over 20 points for the first time this season, giving away a 27-6 third-quarter lead on the Bengals on Sunday Night Football, but got a 34-27 win after J.K. Dobbins' 29-yard TD run with 18 seconds left. The Packers' 2019 win in Chicago came courtesy of Carl Brooks blocking a field goal on the final play of the game. Jordan Love should have been a loser despite throwing for a touchdown and running for one.
Really, anytime you can get a win in the NFL is a great feeling. Obviously, not how you wanted to end up, and obviously not our best ball, but a win is a win.
Does anyone else barely see contact with this football and this block kick? It's like the least blocked kick of all time.
It almost kind of went in, too.
Yeah.
Well, the other part about it, I just thought the Eberflus and the coaching staff, you had a timeout and you had an opportunity to get much closer than kickers can't make anything these days. You got future Hall of Famers like Justin Tucker can't hit 40-yarders. Why did they think this was a sure thing?
Did you see the young Bears fan that was crying because he saw the block kick?
Oh, no.
He also thought it went in, by the way. His dad's like, no, they blocked it. Maybe
he was at the game?
No, he was in his little pajamas with his Caleb Williams jersey sitting right in front of the couch. Maybe we'll play it in the rejoin coming back.
I mean, this isn't as bad as the Chiefs block on the Broncos. Like 6 guys could have blocked that one.
Right.
And that was only for 35 yards. So I think that Eberflus was so panicked. He's like, if I run the ball and the way this rivalry is going, we're probably going to fumble it.
I think he was playing scared.
Yeah.
That's a great way to lose.
Ooh, see, I think it was more that they don't know what they're doing, which led to confusion, which led to him getting in a place where it's like, okay, never mind, just let this run down and call our timeout.
That's a fair one, too.
Happen.
They looked very confused.
Because they wasted too much time, like 2 plays before that, standing around, changing a play line of scrimmage. Like they're just not a good staff. Like that's what this is about.
Like who is the coach for them? Because this regime is gone.
What do you mean? Who's the next coach for them?
Yeah.
Brian Kelly.
It's got to be an offensive guy for Caleb, right?
Yeah, but you just had a coordinator with no head coaching experience, and you got Eberflus.
I'm sure there are fans who are going to want Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah, he doesn't feel Chicago-y to me.
He's, Caleb Williams connection.
Texas Tech.
Yeah, that kind of offense.
No, I'm just saying, I don't see him as a Chicago. Like, that's a geographical mismatch. He feels like he belongs in a warm weather place.
I wouldn't want him, to be honest.
I
just think he's a bad head coach.
Yeah, I don't think that's the guy. I don't think if they're going to go to a retread, then it's not going to be Cliff.
Would the guy from the Lions leave for the Bears in division?
He already said no, and no way.
Well,
why would you do that?
I mean, are they going to do something dumb like Lincoln Riley?
That would be very dumb.
Again, I don't. Am I overestimating the monsters of the Midway thing and the cold weather and the wind? And I don't know if you want like a pure spread offense kind of guy. I feel like you need a combo.
You know who they should have hired? And I know Bears fans, because they've called this show, they really should have fired Eberflus and hired Jim Harbaugh.
Oh, definitely.
That was their mistake. And I don't know.
Jim Harbaugh, last year before.
Right. I mean, I know there's word that like Jim Harbaugh and his wife really wanted to go to Southern California, so maybe they had no chance. But if you're talking about matching the kind of energy that Chicago has, he's a former Bears player. Like, that should have been just a slam dunk, throw him as much money as you want. And instead, they kept Flus. And now look what they got.
You're going to get like I was looking at a list of candidates, like a Drew Petzig, the Cardinals offensive coordinator. That's who you're a Shane Steichen type. That's who you're going to get, which is, by the way, not bad. Shane Steichen's a pretty good coach. I'm not hating that. You got to. Everybody starts somewhere. Sean McVay had to be hired. You got to hire first-time guys. You got to take a risk. Just don't make it Eberflus.
You just did that, and you did Nagy before that.
Another slogan we got. Just take a risk. Chicago Bears.
All right.
Third time with the charm.
You kill for Nagy. Nagy got, again, Mitchell Trubisky to the playoffs. That guy almost deserves Hall of Fame consideration for that move.
And he got run out of town.
The Broncos embarrassed the Falcons yesterday, 38-6. Bo Nix tossing 4 touchdowns, and the Lions destroyed the Jaguars, 52-6. That is the largest margin of victory in Lions history and the worst loss in Jacksonville history. The Giants are benching Daniel Jones, reportedly for Tommy DeVito, and Beyonce will perform at halftime of Texans-Ravens on Christmas Day on Netflix. It is a shame he could not do this in a Sixers uniform. James Harden, now number 2 all-time in threes made, passing Ray Allen last night in the Clippers' 116-105 decision over the Jazz. Harden said some things post-game.
I just want to give motivation to the youth and every other person that's chasing a dream to play professional basketball or whatever it is. So it's an honor.
Anyone want to take James Harden being a role model? No?
Can we put that on a poll? Is James Harden a good role model?
Considering he made a trade request in front of children in China, he's a great ambassador for that guy, James Harden.
Manny, spit it out. Manny almost just spit some Arizona iced tea. Remember you said it twice? I don't even think anyone in the room spoke English. And he was like, I will never play for Daryl Morey ever again. He's a liar. He like tapped the microphone. He's like, is this on?
James Harden always thinking about the youth.
I mean, the entire league basically shrugged last night as he made pseudo history. Few people were less liked than him. He wants to inspire millions.
He probably is one of the more copied player. Like he invented that whole throwing my arms up to get the offensive foul that ruined the NBA for about 6 years.
I'm not a system
Again,
player.
motivation.
I am a system.
I was wondering, is it a bigger motivation to be second all time in 3-pointers made, or is to have your jersey retired at the strip club?
I'd rather have
What's
the
more
jersey
attainable
retired.
out there?
Knowing that I'm behind Steph Curry and I'm not gonna be anywhere near him.
Might as well go for the club.
Yeah, that's something that nobody will have.
I'm not a system player. I am a system.
Yeah.
The Cavaliers down the Hornets last night, 128-114 to become the 4th team ever to start a season 15-0. And the team that might divide this show forever, the Knicks, beat the Nets last night, 114-104.
How's it taste, Bogus?
And finally, I'm really hurt over November loss. The Nets need to lose. Thank you for winning those games.
Manny was sending smack talk texts at halftime.
Again, it was just a statement. It wasn't smack talk. It was just a matter-of-fact statement.
And here's the most important...
OG Anunoby's going to the All-Star game, y'all.
The most important thing I'll tell you this morning, this season's Pop-Tarts Bowl will have not 1, not 2, but 3 edible mascots. Hot Fudge Sundae, Wild Berry, and a mystery flavor. The game MVP gets to pick which one he eats after the game. Now back to you.
Mystery flavor.
Yeah, that means we don't know what it's going to be.
Truffle pasta? What could it possibly be?
Grilled cheese?
Italian
I don't know.
sub? What are they going to try to do here?
They did this all wrong. First of all, they all should be eaten. Second of all, what they should do is the loser should have to eat like a nasty Pop-Tart flavor.
I know, but they're promoting Pop-Tarts. They're not doing some kind of challenge like me and Perloff. It's not tuna jello.
It'll still be promotable. It's not one that you're going to sell.
You have people puking all over each other. It's like, yay, Pop-Tarts.
And hey, you just lost. Can you come over here and eat the booger Pop-Tart?
Yeah.
Gross.
Not a booger. It could be like, I don't know.
Tuna jello.
Licorice Pop-Tart or something like that.
It's got to be like Jake Paul sweat. That's going to be the new
Mike
Pop-Tart.
Tyson butt dust.
What was that spray that they were spraying on each other? That's the new Pop-Tart taste. By the way, the cinnamon brown sugar, best Pop-Tart. Maple,
classic
whatever.
strawberry frosted. Can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Chocolate.
Ugh.
I think it's the most popular one.
I like s'mores. I'm sorry.
I've had like single-digit Pop-Tarts in my life.
Well, you're a loser.
Wow. How'd you avoid it?
They
you
was
have
never in my house growing up.
Those were considered healthy when we were kids.
Yeah, no.
Why don't you give them to your children?
My kids have something like Pop-Tarts, but not Pop-Tarts.
Bro, give them Pop-Tarts. What are you doing?
You're giving the off-brand Pop-Tarts,
Yeah,
Bogus?
what are
Come
you
on.
doing?
I think they come from Trader Joe's.
Oh, yeah. I've had those.
Yeah.
Don't look at the label. They're just as...
Of course they are.
They're just as sugary as regular Pop-Tarts.
Just eat the Kellogg's one, man.
I'm good. I'm also 44. I think I'm out of their demographic.
Hey, you're never too old for a Pop-Tart.
Perloff is, because he's older than me. Just one more note for the listeners.
Trust me, Big Friendly will still think you're the oldest guy here.
It's because you sound like you have wisdom.
That's not what it is.
Coming up, even I didn't see this turn for one star player. And we've got a pick for you tonight. The Dallas Cowboys in primetime. Lucky us.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
They blocked it, buddy.
You're listening to Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Oh, way to tag it. Thanks.
Poor guy. Poor little guy.
Sounded pretty young.
I feel bad for him.
Ouch.
You are an evil individual, Mr. EP. Wow.
How about the person who's recording it and putting it out on the internet for us to
His dad was the one who was
consume?
recording it, yeah.
Ay.
Don't blame me.
Man, Bears fans having it rough this week. Tough week.
I mean, he's got to learn someday, right?
See, I
They
don't
don't get there.
I'm not that sad if I'm a Bears fan. Because
That's a tough way to lose.
What were you doing this year? Anyway, you don't want to win and keep Eberflus around. Like, come on, let's be realistic.
Eberflus was not going to be kept around whether Santos made this or didn't make this.
What if they made the playoffs? Even so.
I still don't think he would stick around.
You think Eberflus would be fired if they made the playoffs? They're not going to now. They're fourth. Really?
Yeah, I do. Because you've got something here with Caleb, and you can't. Flus is not the dude. There's no hair gel in the world. It's not magic hair gel. Okay.
Yeah, I am aware of this, but they're 4-6. If they were 10-7 and made the playoffs, you say that, but you never know. I'd honestly too. I do think Caleb looked really good yesterday. So
the
that's
final
nice.
drive, he looked really good.
Did you see Bo Nix killing it over in Denver? You see Drake May looking good. Even Penix was throwing some darts yesterday. Like, there was definitely some worry that, this head towards the bus. Now I feel better about that.
Well, because to be honest, like that Hail Mary that the Bears were on the wrong side of, it felt like it took them a while to get over it. I don't even know if they're still over it yet. Meanwhile,
that game was that was the worst game Caleb's ever played in his life, that game. He was at -4 yards in the third quarter.
Oh, it was terrible. But that's where I give a lot of credit to the Denver Broncos. I mean, that's a tough way to lose last week. You get your field goal blocked by the Kansas City Chiefs to keep them undefeated division rival, and then you come back and put a thumping on the Atlanta Falcons at home.
Yeah, I guess.
No signs of a hangover whatsoever.
I wonder about that game. Like, were the Falcons all there?
I don't know.
Was the altitude or something?
The defense was definitely banged up, and the defensive strategy was just so mind-boggling. Like, why would you give Bo Nix all that time? It's a rookie quarterback, and you've got a secondary that's banged up. Put some pressure on that dude.
Well, it just struck me, too, that the announcers didn't seem surprised at all that the Broncos were blowing them out. Forget, who cares about the pressure on Bo Nix? Like, Kirk Cousins is supposed to be a Pro Bowl quarterback. He couldn't do anything. It did feel like there was a lot of effort in that game. And it also felt like Atlanta didn't even care. Like, we lose this one, doesn't matter. We're still going to make the playoffs.
Well, they already beat the Bucs twice, so they're going to win the division.
Yeah, it didn't feel like there was any sense of urgency at all.
Tonight's game. So you got the Dallas Cowboys in prime time. Unfortunately, not so much of a prime time lineup for them. They're going to play the Houston Texans. Texans are a touchdown favorite in this game.
Well, I mean, listen, this is the new Cowboys. We haven't seen them with that superstar Jonathan Mingo lined up a wide receiver.
The secret weapon was the wide receiver they traded for right at the deadline.
Gave Apple actually a good pick for him, a 4th-round pick. Yeah, it's hard to imagine the Cowboys putting it together. The only thing is the Texans have played a lot of teams close. Like, they let everybody hang around.
I think this is a little big, even though Cooper Rush looked really, really bad last week. I still would probably be tempted to take the Cowboys and the points here, just because it feels like kind of a big number, and the Cowboys still are at home, even though that has meant absolutely nothing this season.
Well, maybe they're thinking the Texans will be a different team with Nico Collins back.
That's true. Nico Collins is coming back.
But
anytime touchdown, Nico Collins, plus 125 right now on DraftKings.
Yeah,
make a little money.
The Texans have only beaten one team by more than one score, and that was New England. Every other game has been basically a field goal. I don't know what's going on with my Texans.
Your Texans?
Yeah, I mean, when I say my Texans had a little bit of America's team feel. You know, everybody was kind of into them. CJ Stroud's lovable, did his offseason tour. And D'Amico Ryans is really cool head coach. He's in great shape. I don't know what that means. But for some reason, like, every game is 23 to 19. So you're right. Like, that number does seem really tempting. But do you really want to go into a Monday night game betting on the Cowboys, the way the Cowboys have been?
No. Here's a question. What will be the better outcome in Jerry world over 72 hours? Mike Tyson, Jake Paul, or Dallas Cowboys versus Houston Texans?
All in.
Well, there's no sun tonight, so that's a good thing.
Fair.
And no moon either, because Tyson's ass is not going to be on TV.
Thankfully, that's all covered up now, I think. I was thinking when we saw Tyson inadvertently get his butt shown on Netflix, who's going to have the stones to make that their Halloween costume next year? Number one. And number two, what's going to happen when Netflix has 2 NFL games? You're pointing at Perloff.
With the Halloween costume might be the guy on your left over there.
Yeah.
That would be an extreme leap even for Perloff. Bogus may just never come back to work if you show up like that, Pearl.
I don't know. I mean, Perloff's not safe for work costumes keep getting more and more risque.
Yeah, that would be a white moon. You think I think my front side is pale? Jeez Louise.
Call them Moon Night, people.
You wouldn't even need streetlights if that was out there.
Take us home, Maggie.
Thank you, EJ Stewart. Thank you, Manny Rodriguez. Bogus. Kaplan, thank you.
You're in a 5-minute break.